Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any of the commissioners, usually Commissioner Mervyn usually do the prayer. She don't always want to do it all the time, so I'm just asking if anyone is interested in doing it.
Whatever you can.
It's open. When we have a meeting, I can have you do that if you so choose. No pressure, but just want to let you know that's an open invitation. If pastors is in the audience when we do open up, normally we try to let someone from the audience do
2 hours a
it.
week would be 2 hours a week would be 8 hours, majority comes here. But we, you know, what's your expertise?
Well, what construction? I built power plants.
Oh,
So right now it's a good thing somebody else. So,
oh, okay, so that's good, that's good. And then, so you are. Kind of environment for,
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Richard, you gonna try to take those up before you leave, or you need them just sent to you?
If I can, yeah.
Okay,
If you can, if not, I guess your clerk can.
forward them to you. Okay,
I got 2 of them already.
Here you go, Richard.
I got 3.
okay, great. I know I'm a little slow. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Seems like everybody ready and in place. City Attorney, you ready there? Yes, sir. Okay, seems like everybody ready. I call this workshop of the City of Pahokee City Commission being held to discuss the April 13, 2021 agenda to order at 6:05 p.m. May we please stand for the invocation provided by Vice Mayor Mervyn, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, in the name of Jesus, God, we come before you again, God. We say thank you. Thank you for this day, God, for this is the day, God, that you have made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. God, we ask you, God, to bring our minds together today, God, as we come together, God, to discuss the business of the city of Pahokee. I ask you, Father God, that you would be in our midst today. I ask, God, that you will give us wisdom and give us guidance. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Present.
Commissioner Bolden,
Present.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Present.
Commissioner Perez,
Present.
Vice Mayor Mervyn,
Present.
Interim City Manager, City Attorney, Interim City Clerk here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff. And thank our guests. And thank each of our listening residents who are tuned in by social media or YouTube to participate and listen in on our workshop of Tuesday, April the 13th, 2021. The purpose of this workshop is to discuss our April 13, 2021 agenda. We have our intern city manager, Jocelyn Adams, who's doing a great job in the interim. I'm going to turn this portion over to her. I know she's off and running. We do have a semi-lengthy agenda. So we're going to turn this portion over to you, Jocelyn, to kind of lead us in the topics of our agenda this evening.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Good evening, Commission. So what we have tonight on the agenda is the presentations for a interim city manager. Presentations will be given by the Palm Beach County League of Cities, Richard Radcliffe, my apologies, who will introduce and speak on in detail how the process takes place, how we handle it, the format for it, and then we'll segue right into the Florida City County Managers Association, and that presentation will be given by Ken Parker. So that is on the agenda for this evening. We also have on the agenda an addition for vice mayor appointment, as well as for new business. We will talk about the city clerk and the former city manager's payout. And that is pretty much it for this evening.
Okay. And I believe we wanted to, at least while Richard is here, to have him do a pre-presentation. It will be a little briefer than the regular presentation, but just to give us some information of what can be expected in this presentation.
Can you hear me here?
Yes, sir.
Magic marks. As we said, Mayor, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. It's Richard Radcliffe, and I'm the Executive Director for the Palm Beach County League of Cities, which we are a not-for-profit that you are all a member of. I have 204 elected officials that I work for, and I have a board of directors of 18 people. And hopefully, I think the nominating committee came and put your name into nomination on the slate, so hopefully we'll have another Western Glades community representative, because we work for all 39 municipalities, so we have to kind of keep a level playing field, and we try and kind of herd the cats, and we all work together. And Palm Beach County League of Cities, that's us, we're the lowest one. We're your local people. We have a meeting once a month. Everybody's invited to come. It used to be a free lunch. We're hoping to get back to that. We're up to 150 people, almost 200 people at our meetings, because it's a good place to learn. The opportunities that you can have through the league are phenomenal, but it starts with the local league, and you can learn so much from your other elected officials, because it's very difficult. You know, if you've been in business, you think, oh, government's okay, it's easy. It's not. It's always a learning curve. And then the next level is the Florida League of Cities, and that's where I believe Ken, he's worked with Florida City County Managers Association, and that's the state level. And we're going to have a conference in Orlando. That's done every year, August 14th. It'll be at the Marriott Orlando. They didn't have it last year, but they're going to do it. And that's another time where you see they have you get together and you get to meet people from all over the state and share ideas. The next level, National League of Cities, and that there's 2 real events, and all of this. Our primary purpose, outside of the fellowship and learning, is to lobby and stay on top of, or advocates really is everyone, for the collective interests of the cities. We're monitoring, you're getting money, we're monitoring that, we're trying to get the Department of Treasury. You have, every city money is going to have money through the president signed it, but we're waiting for the money to come down. So the Department of Treasury has to give us, everybody kind of knows how much they're going to get based on a formula. So that goes to the national level. I asked you to fill out something. My office will be reaching out, and we're here. I give you my card, my numbers are around. Anytime you have a question, day or night. And we're going to be trying, we used to have a newly elected officials workshop. And we had probably more old timers go to that than new people. Because they knew they could learn it. And we try and have best practices. We used to have people come up and they give you a topic, city manager, relationship, you know, how to deal with your attorney, ethics law, just 15 minutes, not too much where your eyes glaze over. Because my background is, I was elected for 23 years. I've been doing this job after that. They made me quit. I was a councilman in Green Acres, but I've been 10 years doing this. But I know what it's like to be an elected official. Your eyes kind of, it's tough, but you keep it short and sweet and do it. That being said, I'm here to also, you have a golden opportunity. It's very, very difficult going to a manager. I've had to hire and fire managers throughout the time, and it's a very difficult process. The good thing is, at least you're at a level point now. The problem is, until something happens, there's loose ends to do share, there's relationships that people shouldn't be talking, people shouldn't be doing things, can't approach people, you know, there's things that really can't happen until now. And it's kind of like, you gotta look at it as a clean slate, and let's make this work. The difficult part is, and especially for the new people, the sunshine law makes it very, very difficult. So you can't talk about who you like. It made me crazy when we had to hire a city manager. We'd go out, but I couldn't talk to my peers. And there would be, because everything that really is going to happen, interaction should happen here. And you have to be aware of when you're out talking and you see, you know, each other, you want it to be a good, clean process. But it makes it difficult because the only time you really get to interact is when they're here. It's not a lot of time. And you don't get to interact together and listen to what your people are, other questions, because you're not going to know every question to ask. So it's got to happen here. So the more time, but you're in a good place because you're going to get an interim city manager, which is the best way, because if you get somebody that does not want the job, then you'll get a good person. There's a lot of good people out there. They're really great, and they will help you. Once, you know, and Ken will get you to that point, and then they will help you work things and put it together, hire somebody, go through the whole process, and it'll be so much easier once you get through that. But with that, I don't know if Ken is here. Is he coming, or?
He'll be on the phone.
Oh, okay.
He'll be on the phone, but he did send his talking points in his presentation.
Okay, well, I'll let him, I mean, that, I think I've given the board enough for one night. And congratulations to my new members.
Thank you.
Again, thank you, Richard. One other major topic on the agenda would be the department's head presentation. Most of here, some will be on the phone giving a brief update of their department. That's something we have been requesting, and we're going to try to have that on a regular basis, so we'll be updated on various departments.
And Mayor, if I may add, when I present in department heads, we also have Tom DeRita here to present up under my section.
Okay. And that's our lobbying firm?
Yes.
If everybody haven't met Tom and his firm. Okay. Okay. And another big issue is our city clerk. Mrs. Blanco has indicated that she has given it all, and she has did a great job for us, but it's time now to look for another interim city clerk until we can hire a permanent city clerk. So that's a discussion we'll be having also. Staff have attempted to identify someone in-house just for a backup plan if we don't have no one in mind at the current time. So we're looking at that. One of the potential applicants is reviewing our city commission meeting just to see how the meeting is operated. I'm sure that Ms. Blanco will be offering some training internally as much as she can share with the person that will step in as the interim. So we're looking forward to that discussion also.
And if I may, Mayor, I did reach out to the Florida City Clerks Association. I CC'd you all on the email to see if they can assist basically in the same process.
And we have advertised for that position. Hopefully we will be getting some applications in. We're looking forward to that, but as of this date, I'm not sure if we have received any at this time. So
I do not believe we have any additional from the last time that the subject was broached, that I've been told since I've been in this position, that we have any additional applicants to apply.
okay.
So.
And one of the things I think we would need is even the previous applicants, just to, for us
back
to
to
take a
review.
look at those applications, and maybe somebody may stick out there and can be invited to at least reapply if they have a desire to do that. Again, that's going to conclude what we'll be doing tonight as far as our agenda. I'm going to start with Juan Gonzalez to see if he have any comments that he would like to make during the workshop.
Not at the moment.
Okay. Commissioner Bowden.
No, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Perez.
No, thank you.
Commissioner Vice Mayor Mervin.
Not at this time.
Okay. So at this time, I will adjourn our workshop, and we will reconvene at approximately 6:30. Thank you. get started. IT, are you ready? Thank you. I call this meeting of the City of Pahokee regular commission meeting Tuesday, April the 13th, 2021 to order at 6:30 p.m. May we please stand for the invocation provided by Vice Mayor Mervin, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, in the name of Jesus, oh God, we come before you again. Oh God, we bring our commission meeting to you. God, we ask you, God, to give us guidance, give us wisdom, and give us understanding. Father God, we ask you, oh God, to guide us through this meeting, oh God. Bless us, I pray. Bless our city, oh God. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Present.
Commissioner Bolden,
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Here.
Commissioner Perez,
Here.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Present.
Interim City Manager,
Present.
City Attorney. Here. Interim City Clerk here. Directors, Recreation Department, Michael Pinckney. Public Works Director. Director of Community Development, Sophia Nelson. Finance Director, she'll be here later.
And Mr. Pickney will also be here.
And Mr. Pinckney as well.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff. Thanks to our visiting guests. And thank to each of our listening audience for participating in our regular scheduled commission meeting of Tuesday, April the 13th. This meeting is being held by live streaming, YouTube. There is no public access due to COVID-19. Hopefully in the very near future, we can get back to our regular commission meeting. We all are looking forward to that, but for the safety, health and safety of our residents, as well as our staff, we have decided that we would continue this Zoom and virtual meeting until we can safely reopen our chamber. That's a discussion we'll be having in the very near future to see what's the majority of the commission feel for us going forward and when we can do that. We do have a semi-short meeting, but we have some very, very important topics that we'll be discussing tonight. One mainly will be the interim city manager position. We're going to get some guidance from our leagues and our association on how we can move forward to select the best city manager we can possibly select. Another major topic will be some discussion on the interim city clerk position. So we got 2 charter office that's vacant that really need to be filled as soon as we're able to do so successfully. So we're going to follow the agenda as presented. First order is the additions, deletions, and approval of the agenda item. Interim city manager, at this time, do we have any addition to the agenda?
The only addition that to the agenda would be the vice mayor's appointment. That's the
Okay.
only addition for this evening.
And we will move that appointment right after approval of the agenda items. We'll take it that way. I'm gonna backtrack that just a little. We're gonna put that on the new business. That would be number 3. We'll do that to keep everything in order as written here. Okay, so hearing no additions other than the appointment of the vice mayor, are there any addition from this city commission? Any deletion recommendations from the agenda? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Could I have a motion to accept the agenda with the addition that presented.
Motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Looking for a second.
I second it.
It has been moved by Commissioner Bolden and properly seconded by Commissioner Perez that we accept our agenda with the one addition, which is the appointment of the vice mayor, which would go on the new business. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Bolden?
Yes.
Commissioner Perez?
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Now we'll move to citizen comment, public service announcement. All items on the agenda, 3 minutes, please. City Clerk, at this time, do we have any public service announcement or citizen comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have a few citizen comments.
You may proceed.
The first citizen comment is from Larry Wright. Hello, Mervin and Babs. I know you know my name and my many years of work, and I have done for my hometown. You cannot simply excuse that. My heart remains in Pahokee. I used to think very highly of Keith. You have given Pahokee a lot. I must admit I did not understand your hatred for anyone with white skin. You hate your racism very well. Your mother will be very disgusted with your actions. You had me fooled. Your actions that you failed to even see the damage you have to Pahokee is severe. You hate it so much that you would rather let Pahokee become a third world community. Even though I am in this nursing home after a stroke, my mind still works. I have no kind words for you or Mervin. You are truly hateful people and will give what life I have left to make sure both of you are removed. So sad I even have to write this, but it comes from my heart. God bless what is left to Pahokee, those of us who have love and kindness for people of all colors will revert Pahokee. The next comment is from Ms. Mary Dabro, 2997 Lakeside Circle, Pahokee, Florida. Please read into the minutes of the meeting. Good evening to all. I am not seeing on the agenda the nomination for new vice mayor according to the charter should be nominated the first meeting in April. Also stated by former city manager Chandler Williamson. The city manager's payout, in my opinion, should be delivered in pennies after giving away $150,000. And there is still $16,000 plus unaccounted for plus, supposedly. The $5,000 plus he says he paid in cash. Who does that? And is there a deposit slip to bank showing it was deposited into the bank? Once again, it's time for meetings to be open to the public. All the texting with commissioners to other staff needs to stop. If they have nothing to say, they need to call in so it's heard by all. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Respectfully, Mary Dabro. The next citizen comment is from Annie Core. I herein request that these questions from the Pahokee Recall Committee be read into the record in its entirety and ask that the City Attorney Bernadette Norris Weeks please respond in writing to each question to Annie Core, and she provides her email address. Part number 104. Did you consult with the city manager regarding the recall petition of the mayor, vice mayor, and Commissioner Everett at any time? And have you had legal experience with any other elections, recalls, etc. in Palm Beach County? And if so, under what circumstances? Number 2, did you ever advise either the city manager or acting city clerk not to accept the original recall petitions? And if so, what was the legal justification for the same? Number 3, did you ever advise the city manager to finally accept the 3 recall petitions from the recall committee which were presented at City Hall? And if so, what was the legal justification for recommending the same? Did you advise the city manager not to sign the receipt of recall petitions provided to the city manager by the recall committee? And if so, what was the legal justification for the same? Are you aware that the recall committee provided a copy of the 2020 Florida statutes to the city manager by hand at the time of the petitions being delivered at City Hall in order that he will be fully cognizant of the applicable Florida laws and statutes? And if so, did the city manager at any point discuss this with you or a member of your team? Name, Annie Core, and her address is 8832 El Dorado Drive, Pahokee, Florida, 33476. This is a second comment from Annie Core. I herein request that these questions from the Pahokee Recall Committee be read into the record in its entirety and ask that City Attorney Bernadette Norris Weeks please respond in writing to each question. And she provides her email. This is part 2 of 4. Did you offer any advice to the city manager with respect to the Florida statutes, in particular Title 9, Electors and Elections? Did you inform the city manager and or any member of the City of Pahokee City Commission that it was not necessary to adhere to applicable Florida statutes, including?
City Clerk, if I could just interrupt you a moment.
Sure.
That's an identical letter. Just state the fact that that resident wrote 2 letters, both identical, and we'll move on. We don't need to read the second one in its entirety. It's the same identical letter.
She is adding, no, she's adding other
Okay,
numbers.
well-
This is a second email. It wasn't the same email.
Pay attention to the 3 minutes requirement on comments. So you're gonna combine both letters. The time I'm talking doesn't add to her time, but make sure you keep tab on that. Thank you.
Okay. I'm not sure if the 3 minutes are up or how many minutes have
Okay.
been going. I don't have the count, the time count here.
Okay.
Did you at any time prepare any type of documentation for the city manager or any member of the City of Pahokee Commission in a legal format or not with respect to any aspect whatsoever of the subject recall petition? And or did you conduct any telephone call, conference call, or in-person meeting with any City of Pahokee elected official and or employee, including the city manager with respect to the subject recall petition? Did you advise the city manager to share either original or copies of the 3 recall petitions to the mayor and vice mayor, and if so, what was the legal justification for the same? If you did not prefer such advice to the city manager and or city commissioner member, are you therefore aware of any breach of the law governing elections and recalls within the state of Florida? And if so, what violations did occur in this particular instance with the 3 recall petitions? The next comment is from Sharon Colvin. I, Sharon Colvin, 3096 Bacon Point Road, herein requesting that these questions from the Pahokee Recall Commission be read into the record in its entirety and ask that City Attorney Bernadette Norris Weeks please respond in writing to each questions too. And they provide the email as well. Number 10, did you advise Vice Mayor Marvin that it was permissible to contact via telephone people that had signed the 3 petitions to recall her, including, in one instance, a City of Pahokee and or employee, including a family member of such employee? And if so, what was the legal justification of the same? In your opinion, what was such an action on behalf of the Vice Mayor ethical and or legal, even prior to their submission to the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections? Were you aware there was a sufficient number of original, fully executed recall petitions for the recall of each of the 3 commissioners to proceed? And if so, were you informed of such at any time by the city manager and or member of the city commission? What in your legal opinion was the reason for the recall petition to not proceed? Did you ever advise the city manager, mayor, vice mayor, and or Commissioner Everett of a way in which to disqualify one or more of the original fully executed recall petitions? And if so, what advice and to whom was this given? Did you at any time speak with any employee of the Office of the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections regarding this particular 3 recall petitions? Are you aware that one of the principal reasons for supposed failure of the recall petition was that a number of the original fully executed petitions of a quantity to not meet the required threshold were removed, photocopied, and then reinserted into the original recall petitions as copies, not originals? And if so, who informed you of such? And did you, via any means, offer such advice? The third comment is from Catherine Marvace. I herein requesting that these questions from the Pahokee Recall Committee be read into the record in its entirety, and ask that City Attorney Bernadette Norris Weeks please respond in writing to each question. Ms. Catherine Marvace's address is 1838 East Main Street, Pahokee, Florida 33476. Were you aware at any time prior to the commencement of the recall process that the Supervisor of Elections could not count petitions that were not original, and that photocopies of all the original petitions will be disqualified? Therefore, the recall petition will fail. And if so, when did you become aware of this stipulation? In your professional legal opinion, as a member of the Florida Bar and attorney representing the City of Pahokee, were any state of Florida statutes violated, either deliberate and/or unknowingly, and if so, specifically, what statutes? Are you aware that copies of each and every one of the 3 fully executed original recall petitions were delivered to the Chief Counsel of the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections, concurrently with the delivery of original copies of the 3 recall petitions to the City Clerk / City Manager of the City of Pahokee, and that same remain in the custody of the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections? Are you aware that copies of each and every one of the 3 fully executed original recall petitions were delivered to the Chief Counsel of the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections, concurrently with the delivery of the original copies of the 3 recall petitions to the City Clerk / City Manager of the City of Pahokee, and that same remain in the custody of the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections? Thank you. That's the end of the comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and thank the residents for their comments. We don't have, at this time, any minutes to be approved. We don't have any consent agenda items, no ordinances, no resolutions, no public hearings, no proclamations. Now we're moving to our presentations. We have the first presentation, and I would have our city manager guide us in that process.
Thank you, Mayor Commission. Tonight we will have a presentation by the Palm Beach County League of Cities, Richard Radcliffe. And if you've noticed on the agenda, we're going to flip it. Mr. Radcliffe will present before the Florida City County Managers Association so that he can do an introduction and a segue into Mr. Parker's presentation. Mr. Radcliffe.
Okay, thank you all. We kind of went over this at the workshop. I don't know if you want me to give you the abbreviated version, but really, I'm here. I'm the Executive Director of the Palm Beach County League of Cities, and I'm here congratulating you on the new commissioners and the opportunities ahead of you. And I'm here also that you're now members of one of our, automatically when you take your oath of office, you're one of our members. We have 204 members. But I'm here today basically because they asked me to come in and try and help facilitate with the hiring of your new interim city manager. And for the League of Cities, we don't normally, we help facilitate things, but we don't get into the nuts and bolts. You are in a wonderful position because you don't have any loose ends. You're going to start over. You're going. Oh. Okay. Thank you. You don't have any loose ends, and you're going to start kind of with a fresh slate. You're going to have Ken Parker from FCCMA, he's going to help you hire somebody, and then that person is going to help you. And I'll tell you, it's the Florida, it's Florida advisors. They used to be range riders, and they're all retired city managers, and they're really, really wonderful. They come in, they work with you, they help you, they do whatever you need to get set up. This is a good situation because he will help you get an interim, hire an interim city manager who can help you kind of come in. And these gentlemen are professionals at this. They all have lots of experience. You know, you would be amazed with the experience of some of the people that are going to be out there and to your availability. The fact that they are not looking for a job keeps it back on that level playing field. They're not trying to get anything. They're trying here to help you. These are all retired people that are going to come in, and then you're going to get a wonderful person. And I always hear great stories about how they help keep staff together, make people work, focus together, and make the best of your situation to move forward. And with that, you have to all work together. You've got to all work together to hire somebody, and you're going to have to do it all here in the public eye under that. So with that, I will let the professional who's going to help you take you down this journey. I think Ken Parker is probably on the line, and I will let you introduce him.
Mayor, Commission, our next presentation will be, as Mr. Ratcliffe said, by Ken Parker, and he is on the phone. Mr. Parker, are you there? Okay. Ken Parker is with the Florida City County Managers Association, and he has also sent in, you have the document with you, an overview of what the Florida City County Managers Association stands for, how the senior advisors work, and it will be placed up on the screen, on the monitor, so that everyone will be able to review as well. Mr. Parker, we are ready for you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your meeting tonight. My name is Ken Parker. It's good to see the mayor and members of the commission. I'm able to actually watch you online tonight. I did provide you with a memorandum as it relates to the interim city manager process. Hopefully each of you have received a copy of that. Hello?
Yes, they did.
Okay. We have tried to provide that information to you. I will not go over all of it, but we are retired city county managers. There are 8 of us in the state of Florida. As a matter of fact, there are 2 that are in the South Florida area. One does not do recruitment anymore, but there is still a team of individuals who are willing to help your city. And I've tried to go through your options of what's available to you, because we really want to be sure that you want us to be involved in your process. But there are other options available to you. There are firms that do the interim work, and then you could do it yourself internally. And there are actually firms that provide interim city manager services, and they will bring somebody in to do the work. In the interim memorandum, I did go through kind of a timeline of what we typically see, and normally it takes about two to 4 weeks for us to provide you with individuals that would be interested in working with your city in the interim capacity. So I won't go through the entire memorandum. We see us as coming alongside you. We see you as a partner with us, and we partner with you and your staff in order to find the individual that is that will best suit your needs and best help your city in this interim capacity. Okay, with that, I'm going to stop and allow you to, if you have questions of me, and then I can get back. I would be amiss that the individual that, okay, it'll either be me or Dan Clayman will be working with your city. One of the two of us will be working.
City Commissioners, at this time, do you have any question you would like to ask
I have a question.
Commissioner Perry?
So it's 2 to 3 weeks for them to find an interim, but another option is for him to come and work along with our interim until we find a replacement. Is that what you're explaining?
You will need to repeat the question because I can't hear them, okay?
Speaking the mic too. Thank you.
Okay, my question is, when you say 2 to 4 weeks for you to find an interim, does that, and then you said that it would either be you or another gentleman. Is a different option, you coming in and working right along our interim until we find an interim or a permanent?
Okay. We do not provide those interim services because if we do, we have to actually resign our position as a senior advisor. And then, I hope I'm answering the question that you're asking, is that our services are to help you.
Okay, can you explain that again, because I didn't understand it? To help us find an interim?
Yes, we help you find an interim.
Okay.
And while she's thinking of a second question, just to expound on that, once you help us find an interim, do you also help with the process of hiring and selecting a permanent city manager? Those two kind of go hand in hand.
Yes. The second memorandum I provided to you goes through that permanent city management process. So I gave you two memorandums. I don't know which, if you received both of them or not, but there are two of them, and the answer is if you want us to be involved in helping you with your permanent manager, we'll be glad to do that also.
And I believe you put that in writing as far as the cost, but could you just share on average what that process would basically cost the city?
Okay. From the city from the senior advisor standpoint, we are not compensated. The only thing that we request is that if we have to travel to your city, that we are reimbursed with mileage, and if we have to stay overnight, then the city would pick up our lodging and then our meal expense. And those are the expenses that we are the only expenses that you would be expected to pay the senior advisor. Now there are other expenses that are involved. Number one, the background checks that you would do on your city for the various candidates that you want to interview. The senior advisors do not do background work. Okay, that would be something that you would have to do yourself, or hire a firm to do that work. The other items are when you bring someone in for your interview, you would be totally responsible for those expenses of those individuals. We come alongside you and we help you manage the process. And when I say the process, is that when you are, okay, we'll help you develop questions for your interviews. We help you set up, the interview process. When I say that, we're the ones who will call the candidates and say, the city would like to interview you, and these are the dates they would like to do the interviews. And then we would also be on site to help you through that process, because normally we see it as a 3-day process. The first day, when you're interviewing, is that you're bringing the candidate in. All of the candidates come in. They tour your city. They get to meet with your department heads. And the second day are the individual interviews that you have with each city commissioner. And then usually at that evening or that second day, there is a reception of some type with the community. The community is invited in by the mayor and the commission. You are their host, and they get the opportunity to meet each of the candidates that you're interviewing. Some cities use this as a question and answer time. Others just use this as an opportunity for the community to talk with each of them as individuals. From our perspective, then that third day is the actual commission, the mayor and commission's public interview session, and then we help you develop the questions for that particular session also. That kind of is the general process. In that memorandum, we also went through kind of a timeline that is out there. Now, okay, under option number 1, which is in the memorandum, is that you do have that option of hiring an outside firm. And the process that they would go through is similar to the one that I would go through with you. They have a questionnaire. They talk with each one of you. They talk with your staff. They put together what is called the candidate profile, and that is what they use to recruit from. Okay, normally they pay the background checks and all of the verifications are done by the firm, and you could expect something in option 1. We've seen some pricing in the $15,000 range up to maybe 20, but you would not know that until you actually did an RFP and they submitted their work. So, on the top side, you're probably going to be somewhere in the $15,000 range for a professional search firm. Okay, if you handle the recruiting yourself, we can provide you with certain types of material. But the real key right here is under option number 2, when you're doing it and when the senior advisors are doing the work, all of the resumes are submitted directly to the city. That means those resumes become public record immediately. And some cities have a concern about that, and that is one of the reasons a number of cities use the private search firms, because the private search firms receives the initial resumes, and then they do their work and they bring you a listing of candidates, and so it is slightly different than what we would be doing. So 2 and 3, the senior advisors and your staff would receive all of those, all the resumes, and they become immediately. Okay, and if you would go in the permanent one, I actually gave you sort of a timeline. I've worked with 2 cities recently, and I can tell you this timeline works very well. One of the cities that we advised, they went and decided to do with a search firm, and the search firm began their process in December, and they actually hired their city manager in March. The senior advisor, we began ours in November, and the city commission of that particular city hired their city manager in March. So it was about a month difference, if you use a search firm or if you use us. So from that perspective, you could expect about a a 4 to 5 month type of situation before you had your permanent city manager. With that said, some cities like to, they give their interim manager an option of apply. And that then makes the process a little bit shorter if they decide they want to hire the interim manager as their permanent manager. I've kind of gone quickly through the memorandum, but the answer is we can help you with both the interim and the permanent. And I've tried to outline the process in the memorandum for you so you can see how step by step we would go through this process.
And I think you mentioned previously in your memo to us that you would need a certain time for us to decide whether or not we're going to be going with your association. If not, it would delay the availability of your association to help us at least by 30 days or longer, if that's true.
Yep. Well, if you say you would like us to begin, we would then ask you to designate a staff person that we could work with to begin the process, and hopefully we could start that process next week with you for the interim. Now, if you decide you wanted us to do the permanent, then all you would need to do is say, yes, that's what we want you to do. We would ask you, to send us a email that would say, we would like for you to do either the interim process for us, or we would like you to do the interim and the permanent process for us, or you just want us to do the permanent. Any of those options are available to you, and we would start the process immediately.
Okay.
Any other questions, Commissioner?
During our discussion, do you want him to remain on the line in case you have some additional questions? So what we're going to do is go into a discussion to determine possibly tonight whether or not we want to engage that association in our process. Okay, we'll start with Perez, if you would like to make some initial comments, and then we'll see where we're going from there.
Well, out of all the options, I like option number 3 better. It's no cost to the city. They will assist us. Only out of pocket will be for their mileage, their meals, and their lodging. If they have to stay here, they could help us with the interim, and they could help us with the permanent.
And if you would, just for the audience and the listening audience, just share what the number 3 step would be.
Number 3 would be to allow the senior advisory to advise you and your staff on recruiting the next manager. Most of the work will be done by your internal staff. We would advise the commission and staff on a variety of items, including preparing the job profile, the recruitment brochure, and where to advertise. We will conduct extensive interviews with commission in order to develop the job profile that will be included in the advertisement. The development of the recruitment materials is truly a collaborative effort. The senior advisor would review the resumes and provide you with a listing of potential candidates who most closely meet the character requirements and the profile development and approved by the commission. We will work alongside you in preparing questions to be used during the candidate interviews. This option is a partnership with senior advisors coming alongside of you and your staff. The questions that you must ask is how much time your staff can dedicate to the process. Senior advisors would help you manage the interview process. That means that we will be present during the interviews to make sure that schedules are met and information is provided to each commission member. However, senior advisors do not and will not offer any opinions or recommendations on any candidate. The senior advisor will keep the commission informed throughout the process. Senior advisors do not have the contacts that the recruiting firms have. We do not always know which managers are considering moving from their current jobs to another position. Recruiting and placement is what the firms do. Recruitment of managers is not the primary responsibility that senior advisors are charged with doing by FCCMA and ICMA. With that said, senior advisors will notify other senior advisors both in Florida and in other states, making them aware of your position.
Okay.
That concludes number 3.
Okay. Commissioner Vice Mayor Murray.
Mayor Bell, as again, I would, I think tonight I will go with option 1, reading all of the options. I know they're saying there ain't no cost. There is a cost. They're saying it's $15,000 to $20,000 cost.
That's not option 3.
Option 1 is, it says the quickest option is to designate a member of your current staff to serve as an interim city manager. We first has, to do that. I know a city with a small staff, this might be a problem. This will allow the city commission to immediately focus on finding a permanent city manager. Mayor Bab, we now have a certified human resource department that gets paid to do this job. That's her job. So why we will pay on the outside, you're paying staff right now to do this job. Even if we read option 3, it's saying to allow the city manager, they will still have to use your staff. So they're still gonna be using the staff to do the work. So you're gonna be paying them, but yet you're using your staff also that's doing the work. We could use the staff that we have, use your human resource department, and if I'm not mistaken, March 23rd meeting was we directed our human resource department to put out the 60 or 90 day for city manager. Allow that process to take place. You pay her to do that. And other than that, what do you need a human resource department for? That's her job.
Okay. Commissioner Bowling, what's your viewpoint, comments?
After reading over all of these, I'm in agreement with Commissioner Perez. I like option number 3, that would allow them to come in. On option 1, that's to employ somebody other than the senior advisors, right?
Yeah,
I just want to make sure I understand it correctly too. Okay, so option 3, if they come in and help us do this, then they have a lot of connections, they have a lot of experience at this, and I think, yes, do we have an HR department? Yes, we do. But this is not necessarily something she's ever done that I'm aware of since she's been here. And I think that allowing people who do this all the time to assist us for a small amount of money to allow them to stay overnight or whatever they need to do would be in our best interest. Sometimes we're too careful with the money and then we lose out on what we should do. And sometimes we spend money where we shouldn't and we don't get what we're paying for. So I think option 3 is a very good way to do this because that allows them to come in here long enough to actually do something and make the change that we need and to advise us on how this change should get done.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Commissioner Gonzalez, what's your preference?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where I seen it out, because I'm kind of confused, because we have options and we have 2 different.
One is an interim and the other one is a permanent.
Okay, which is the one that says we're responsible for per diem only?
Pretty much both. If they come in, pretty much it's basically the same thing. They come to assist and it's basically the same thing.
Right, I think financially, the per diem way would be the way to go, and which is the other one that we can actually interview the people applying for the job.
Number
one's-
3 is the one that they come in, they assist us, and pretty much what they do is they assist the staff that we have, but they give us the resources, and you know they're right along with us to make that process.
Excuse
that's-
me, Mayor, Commission, if you would like for Mr. Parker to explain those options again?
Yes, please,
It-
but I'm confused. I'm
Maybe
trying to
like a
read
one-liner,
back and
two-liner
forth,
for
back and
each
forth,
one.
and it's kind of-
Yeah.
Mr. Parker, if you could
Yes, I'm
explain those options again to Commissioner Gonzalez, please?
Okay. Is he ready for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner, the option number 3 is that we would come in and the only expenses that the city would incur is actually any mileage that any per diem, and any types of stay. I can tell you the last city that I worked with, I just submitted to their commission a final report, and it was less than $500.
So which one is it, I'm sorry. So which one is it that we can actually interview each individual that is applying for the position?
You're gonna do that anyway.
Oh, you can do that anyway?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
have that option
Okay, so
anyway.
that's the one that was in reference to the per diem.
No, I
Yeah,
did
Yeah,
not.
you would have
was
that
it.
option anyway.
because I think
Once they get
financial,
them, you would be the one interviewing anyway.
so
No matter
that,
what, they're
we
gonna
make
bring
that
them all
choice.
to us, and we're gonna
Yes.
figure out which ones we wanna interview and then which ones we might wanna bring
We do it
in
as
from
a-
out
as a
of the
commission.
We
area.
make
together.
that choice.
Yeah,
I think that would be, that way we can agree, disagree, screen them out personally to see what will work out for the city. I would think so.
Yeah.
Plus the per diem is pretty low.
Mr. Parker, Mayor Babs, based on your experience over the years, which option has the majority of the city found most beneficial to them and basically went with on average?
The majority of the cities over 10,000, they will use a search firm. Okay, about 75% of the firms of the cities that are underneath that, down to about 5,000, about 75% will use a search firm. 25% will use either us or they will handle it internally. So you don't see us out there. We're not out there, trying to drum up business for the senior advisors to do this kind of work. We ask the cities if they believe that we have value, then they can request that we perform the service. Okay. We're just not out there doing that as part of our business model. We are colleagues. We see ourselves in that frame. We see ourselves as coming alongside you, and that we are that together we do the job. So that kind of gives you an idea what I'm seeing out there among other cities.
Okay. I know we have had staff kind of reach out to a couple of the search firms, and I know you mentioned we're looking at maybe 15 to 20,000, but we received some quotes, unofficial quotes, just solicited quotes of $28,000. So utilizing a search firm can get pretty expensive. So I think that is probably out of our budget or our means to do that. To be honest, last time we searched for a city manager, whatever we did internally, we did pretty well. We had quite a few out-of-state candidates. We had some local candidates and some from a little distance from outside, just in Florida. But it turned out very well. We actually utilized our residents to help in that process, help screen applications and rate them along those lines. So I think that process did work very well, but I'll be in agreement to really go with this association, primarily maybe to help us get our city manager on board.
And Mayor Bab, it does say on one of them that you can also get your citizens' input.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be form a citizens committee, which I think would be a good idea.
Yeah.
And I think that will work.
Yeah, and they would help. I mean, we're gonna have to do a lot of the lab work, but they would certainly help us formulate those plans to be able to do that again. But I think we did again a very good job 5 years ago when we did hire our city manager. Okay. So if this commission is comfortable of making this decision tonight, I would entertain a motion as far as one of the options that we would go with, so we can let Mr. Parker know that we are interested in having him work with us in our selection process.
I make a motion that we ask Mr. Parker and the senior advisors to come in and help us with the interim and permanent city manager under, I guess, option 3.
I second it.
It has been moved by Commissioner Boland and properly seconded by Commissioner Perez that we go with option number 3 and have the Florida City County Management Association assist us in that process. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes?
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bowden.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Mr. Parker, this commission has decided to go with your association to assist us in the process of hiring our next city manager on the option number 3. So whatever information you need, we'll be supplying that for you and with you. At this time, our acting intern city manager, Ms. Adam, will be the point person for the information that you're going to require from this commission.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Okay, did you hear us?
I heard that they said they would like for us to assist.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And I appreciate that, and we will be in touch with you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you very much.
Okay, I look forward to working with you all.
Have a good evening.
You have one too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Again, thank you, Commissioners. Now we'll move to our next topic, which will be the mayor's report. I would just like to start off by thanking our city staff for all their hard work and effort during the interim of not having a permanent city manager. I think they all picked up the pieces and continued to move this ball forward down the field, and that's should be noted. I also would like to thank our interim city manager, Ms. Adam. Initially, Ms. Adam did decline the position, and later decided, after thinking about it for a while, and I imagine praying over it too, that she would accept this challenge and this responsibility. And I think in the short term that she has been acting city manager, she has done a great job. We just recently had an incident at City Hall in which we had a fire. It was on the outside mainly of a shed, but we had some electrical wiring down City Hall was temporarily closed for about 4 hours. We was able to get the generator up and running to allow staff to return back to work. And we just want to thank them for their effort in doing that. Ms. Adam would give kind of a brief report during her report about that incident to just bring us a little more up to date, but we certainly thank staff for all of their effort. There has been some talk about transparency at our city, and as mayor, I would just like to make the public aware that we have live streaming. That's one of our means of being transparent. That's not the only means, but that's certainly one of our means, that you are able to review and look at live our commission meetings. I know a lot of residents are continue to hope that we will open up our facility. I for certainly one that would like us to reopen as soon as it's safe to do. And the majority of this commission may feel that any time that they feel it is safe to do, and we'll go with that majority request if that's the majority opinion. But as mayor, it's just my responsibility as well as each of our responsibility to make sure our number one concern is the health and safety of our residents. We have a small chamber. I do believe about 6 people could safely be in here with proper distancing, but the pandemic is still there. It's fortunate that we do have vaccines, but at least 80% of the population need to be fully vaccinated before you can really consider your community safe. But we're going to abide by whatever the majority so choose. But just wanted to bring that to your attention. Our goal is to open up as soon as possible. Another transparency we do is even our city manager report. Most of those reports, whether it's shared by the mayor or another commissioner, is made public so that the community is aware of what we are doing. All of our major grants, and we have received at least 5 major grants in the last couple of years, every dollar amount that we receive is public. I personally share it on my page that the public would know. Now, you may not see line by line every expenditure, but at least you know what was received, and you can see for yourself whether or not that looked like a $5 million project or a $1 million project. But the information is available at City Hall if anyone wants to see that. So we really try to be transparent. Another concern that a lot of residents have expressed is not having their question answered at city commission meeting. Most city doesn't answer questions at city commission meeting, but I do agree, questions most should be answered at some reasonable time, whether at the next meeting or at a town hall meeting. And I really prefer having some of those questions, or the majority of them, answered at a town hall meeting. Again, we're in COVID, but we may be able to find a way, whether it's on the outside or a larger space, for instance, the cafeteria, that we can have monthly or quarterly town hall meetings, along with the mayor, the commissioners, and the city manager. But we want to attempt to at least answer residents' question as much as possible. I had planned on going to Tallahassee tomorrow to support our farmers in Tallahassee. They're having some hearings on a Senate bill and a House bill in reference to the farming industry. And due to a situation with my health, I had to delay that and won't be attending. But there are some residents and community leaders in the Glades that we'll be going up to Tallahassee to support the farming industry. Some folks feel that we don't support farming. We certainly do as an agriculture community, and we know that our farming industry is a vital industry for our community, so we want to support them as much as we possibly can. Our city manager, as everyone is aware, has resigned. We're in the process of looking for a new city manager. But I just encourage the public, the general public, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Even if the bathwater is dirty, allow the baby to remain. And the baby is the city of Pahokee. This is our community, which we all say that we love, but sometimes we over-criticize, and there's nothing wrong with bringing out shortcoming in commission or staff, but it needs to be done. I'm encouraging it to be done in a more constructive manner. You'll be surprisingly how many persons tune in to our live meetings and watch us and watch comments that's made by our general public. And you have to ask yourself, if you're an investor or you're a business person potentially looking at Pahokee, one of the things you want to know whether or not that community is together as a group of peoples. And that don't mean that I'm saying we need to agree all the time. We're not going to do that. We're going to have time where we disagree, but it's the manner in which we disagree. And even coming in as a new commissioner, even coming in with a platform of change, and nothing is wrong with change, but we have to be respectful as much as possible of each other and of our staff. Whether we politically correct or politically incorrect, you know, to publicly express that there's no confidence in staff sends a message that to staff whether this is a place where I feel comfortable working. That don't mean you can't point out constructive criticism or concerns, but let's do it in a manner where staff is not reluctant to step up in a more responsible position within our city if they're capable of doing the job. Let's try to support not only ourselves, but support our staff and support our community. And I think with working together, we can get there. It's going to be some bumps in the road. It's not going to be always a smooth sailing, but if we can work together as much as we can for things that are going to benefit us and benefit this community, that's what we need to be doing. And lastly, I'll just mention public housing. There's a lot of talk on social media. We was able to secure the city over 200 units of rental property, of rental apartments. Some of those apartments was town hall style. They all new. Neither one of those properties that the city owned, those are private developers. We can't dictate to the developer which property to develop, whether they're going to be single-family homes or rental residence. I prefer personally single-family home because it adds to the tax base, but everyone can't afford a home. Everyone don't want to live in a home. Everyone don't have the credit to own a home. Everyone don't have the income to own a home. We have a lot of substandard living in the city of Pahokee that new rental apartment would give those residents an opportunity to live in a better place to provide for their family. So we have to consider that. And again, I don't want to rehash anything that I may have said in the past, but the question is fine, but make sure that we're not running off potential people who want to invest in our community. And I think that that would help go a long way. Saying that, that would end my report, and we would go now into our city manager report.
Good evening again, and thank you, Mayor and Commission. Tonight, I want to have our department's head to present, and so that way you all can put a face to the department, the heads, and they're just going to give a brief overview of what the department has going. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our, two of them will be on the phone. We'll have our Human Resource Department, just to give you an update about openings and the number of employees. We'll have our, since I was Community Economic Development Director, I have my grant manager here, and she's going to fill in for me with the updates as far as community economic development is concerned, as well as Mrs. Dorita will follow behind her to give an update of overall projects and what we've submitted to the state legislature. From there, we will go to Mr. Pigney, who is at Parks and Recs, and he will give you an update of events and the things that we have available at Parks and Recs. From there, we will go to Ms. Belanca, who also serves as our Building and Planning and Zoning Manager. And then we will have Public Works, Mr. Johnson, to update you on Public Works. And then we will end it with Ms. Francis, who is our Finance Director, and she will be on the phone. Like I said, this will be a brief overview of just what each department has going up until this point. It will be very brief. If you have any questions or concerns, we ask that you please submit them to me, and we will get you back a response in a timely manner. So with that, get Ms. Ramsey on the phone. We'll get Ms. Ramsey on the phone. I will go next to Ms. Nelson.
All right. Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
Commissioners, and members of the dais. Sophia Nelson, PhD, Public Policy and Public Administration. I just want to let you guys know who's working in the office. All right, so our update in community economic development. Currently, we have the Solid Waste Authority Blighted Grant. That grant is for $80,000, and it's for us to do demolition on property that is on 647 Bacon Point Road. We'll probably not start that project until closer to June. Our next project is the Florida Department of Transportation. That grant is for $210,000, and that is our Phase 4 resurfacing. That is the last of our phases. We've done 1, 2, and 3, and that will cover West 3rd to Carissa, and also would include South Lake, West 2nd, West 7th, and MLK. We have our big grant, which is $4.5 million, which is our FDOT Barfield. You've already did the resolution. We've already started the process with SASCO, who's our contractor. By next meeting, you'll have our CEI contract. That is with Momentum. That will be our engineer. And that project is, once you guys have done your signed off on the resolutions, will start May 2021. We have our sidewalk, which is our CERT tax dollars. That's $100,000. Our contractor is 2SBW, and the sidewalks that will be covered, Daniels, Carver, Buddy White, and Booker. We have our East Main stormwater project, that's $750,000. Our contractor is Ryerbach, and our engineer is MDO. We just had a very successful community meeting last week, and so we will be starting that project by May 1st. We have our Brownfields grant, which we've had for the last 2.5 years. PPM is our consultant, and right now we are in the last stages of that particular grant, and we'll be looking to go for phase 2 of that EPA grant, which is now, we did an assessment, now we'll be looking at different developments. We applied for and received a SCOP grant for McClure, and that project will be slated, that's $900,000. That project is slated to start in 2022. We've also did another SCOP grant this past about 2 months ago, and that was for Larimore, and we asked for $1.2 million for that. So those are the current projects that we're working on. Past projects, we demoed City Hall, Old City Hall. We also demoed the old hospital, the Everglades Hospital. We did phase 3 of Shav Island, all the roads there. So those are the projects that have been in and out of CED. Another thing that we're also working on for Parks and Rec is trying to relive our grant for that particular program. So thank you.
And one thing I would like, I'm sorry, Mayor, one thing I would like to add is our department, Community and Economic Development, also covers all the events for the city. So it's not only that we are just doing projects or the grants for the entire city, we also maintain all of our events that the city takes place. And we're very proud of that because we put a lot of work into that.
Yeah, back to school. If you guys approve it, we will do the fireworks for 4th of July. We also do the Christmas giveaway and anything else, movie nights. So whatever happens in the city, it also comes out of CED.
Our grand reopening that we just had for a Parks and Recs building. We assisted Parks and Recs in making sure that happened. Okay, I have Ms. Ramsey on the phone who will give you an update. Mayor,
I just
know
wanted
that
to
you want
share
say
that location on Bacon Point Road. That's just south of Commissioner Park, that vacant lot there where the old swimming pool used to be. That's going to be clearly cleared and make room for some additional park amenities.
And also, one thing I would like to note is that when Ms. Nelson said we asked for 1.2 or whatever amount it is, that is the ask for the application. That does not necessarily mean that we will receive those dollars. So we may ask for 1.2, but they may turn around and say, we only have $900,000 to give you, or we only have $800,000. So understand that the ask of what goes into a grant application, any grant application, may not come back of what we get. So I just wanted to make that clear.
And lastly, Ms. Nelson, if you could share your report with the commission by putting it in our mailbox so we can have something for reference. Those are some good numbers we need to share with our community to let them know things are going on in Pahokee.
All right, next we will have our Human Resources Department, and like I said, Ms. Ramsey will give you a brief overview of staffing for the entire city, what City Hall covers, what Parks and Recs cover, what Public Works cover. So we just want to make that clear. Ms. Ramsey? You're there?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners. First of all, I would like to congratulate the two newest members on board, Commissioner Gonzalez and Commissioner Perez. I will just be giving a brief overview of our staffing. We're currently staffed with 31 employees, 5 open positions, and they are one, executive administrative assistant, who has the shared responsibility with the city manager's office and finance department. For Parks and Recs, we have programs director, outstanding, and programs lead. We have the city clerk's position. We have the city manager's position. We are currently partnered with CareerSource, in which they have a grant-funded program related to COVID and also young adult program. And in a few weeks, we will be having a couple employees from CareerSource that will be staffed in different areas, more so the public service department. That is basically an overview of our staffing at the city of Pahokee currently.
Thank you, Ms. Ramsey. Okay, next we will have Mr. Pickney, who is from our Parks and Recs department. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Pickney. I promised Mr. Dorita. Mr. Dorita, if you want to follow up. Mr. Dorita has also handed a presentation pass out to you. So if you want to follow along with that.
And while he's coming up, he's already up. He probably won't tell you this, but he's the firm that mainly responsible for helping the city of Pahokee receive all of these grants. The money just don't fall into our lap. It takes a lot of work and a lot of efforts. He set up a lot of meetings when we go to Tallahassee to directly engage with some of these legislators who have the final decision.
I'd like to thank everybody for allowing us to come tonight. Ms. Adams made this arrangement for us. We appreciate that. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor. Welcome, Ms. Perez and Mr. Gonzalez. I gave you a little synopsis on what we have done, just our backgrounds a little bit. We've been in business 22 years in the state of Florida. We have offices here, Tallahassee, and Washington, D.C., and we have 5 main lobbying proposers. With me is Eric Polanco, who is my senior management consultant and has been with me for quite a while. As you know, things have been very different. This is a different time. With COVID, we've had to really restrain ourselves. The President of the Senate, Wilton Simpson, has said no one can come to Tallahassee during session. The House was a little bit different. They said, well, you can come, but you have to come in the separate building. You can't be here. So everything's really been done on Skype. And you lose that personal connection that you have with these people. So you really have to work a lot harder to make sure that what we've tried to establish for the city of Pahokee that gets across. So the process is that we will sit down with the city manager and staff to decide what projects we think are the most important. And what we look at is we look at history to make sure that where the funding is going to come from. Starting in the session, when we started the session this year, we were $3 to $4 billion in the red. It was very, very difficult. We felt like we weren't going to get anything accomplished. So I gave you a secondary sheet which says the city's 2 budget requests, and this is what we sat down with the city manager and looked at what requests we felt we could get through, were filed in the House and the Senate. Representative Skidmore, who we've dealt with for many years, and she's back now as a House member again, she filed House Bill 2025. That's the Pahokee King Memorial Park improvements for $250,000. And House Bill 2869, Pahokee East Main Street stormwater improvements, $400,000, was filed by Senator Harrell, who sits on that committee, and that was filed. The city's budget requests were voted favorably. This was very important for us. Once they're voted favorably in the House, Agricultural and Natural Resources Subcommittee, Appropriations Subcommittee, this allows the project to be considered in final budget bill. That's where we are right now. We're in final budget bill. The House approved $97 billion spending plan, H. Bill 5001. a day after the Senate unanimously backed a $95 billion package, Senate Bill 2500. So you can see there's a difference between the House and Senate. They're now in negotiations to find out, is it going to end up at $97 billion or is it going to end up at $95 billion? The one fortunate thing that's happened, the federal government has just granted the state of Florida, we think at this point, $10 billion. That's going to take the shortfall that we may have had and make us have some additional money. So now our job right now is within the next 2 weeks to make sure that our 2 projects get heard. And when Ms. Adams brought up the fact that, you know, you may ask for X number of dollars and you may get something lower. Sometimes you may get something to what you asked for. That all happens in the negotiations for this next couple of weeks. So the $250,000, we had asked for $500,000. When it came back out of the House, it was dropped down to $250,000. But that wasn't bad because the Senate came back and approved it for the $250,000. There is a possibility that that could increase. I wouldn't bank on it, but it's possible that it could go back up again. We're just hoping that we get these 2 bills through. One of the, on the stormwater improvements, I think that this is an area that we're going to really look at a little heavier next year because the governor's feeling is now that we've got to take a look at climate change and we've got to take a look at the flooding that takes place. And these are things that he has put extra money in the budget for next year. So we have another year to work on it. We will sit down with the interim manager and we'll sit down whoever you decide is going to be the city manager, and we will come up with a plan for 2021-22. The House and Senate have some large differences in health care and education, and a lot of the discussions during the coming weeks will focus on how to handle the $10 billion, which I just mentioned, that the state is expected to get from the American Rescue Act. The House proposal would direct $3.5 billion of the stimulus money for deferred maintenance needs at state and school facilities. Among other things, it would also provide $2 billion to offset revenue losses in the state's Transportation Trust Fund, provide $1 billion to fund the new Emergency Preparedness and Response Fund in the Governor's Office, and provide $630 million for environmental programs which include beach renourishment, resiliency, and septic to sewer conversions. Those are some of the big items that are going to be worked on this year with that money that's in and following up next year. The Senate hasn't detailed plans for the stimulus money, but Senate President Wilton Simpson said it could go into transportation and water infrastructure along with reserves. Obviously, we've always had reserves, and they have dwindled down due to COVID. So the state's obligation to the citizens is to build those reserves back up again so that when we're asking for money, the money comes out of the reserves. That's where it's most profitable for us. Besides the federal money, lawmakers got positive news about the state tax dollars as economists upped the estimate of general revenue by $2 billion. But that came with the caution that the state still faces financial fallout from the pandemic. The Senate's budget version includes $250 for the King Memorial Park, as well as the House, so that was very important to us. The Senate and House will meet for budget conference later this month to finalize the budget. The legislation has an additional $2 billion in state revenue estimates. We will continue to work for full funding for both projects during the budget conference. That's what we've been up against this year. Hopefully, we don't have to be this stringent come 2002 and 2022 and the finalization of 2021. But Pahokee is very important to us. We've been here for a while with you. On a personal note, we were able to partner. I've had a charity for 30 years, is it, Eric? 30 years, the Big Hop Brigade. And the Big Hop Brigade has partnered with Palm Beach Harvest. And everybody knows who Deborah is. I hired Deborah when she was 18 years old, a long, long time ago. She reminded me not to say this tonight. But she is so amazing. And we've been able to provide over $2 million meals in the last 30 years, but she provides hundreds and hundreds of thousands of meals. And our concentration is the Glades, it is Pahokee. That's one of my proudest parts of being a part of this. We've supplied meals now for the last 3 years for St. Mary's Church, partnered with a church in Palm Beach Gardens, St. Peter's Church. And that has been, matter of fact, I cut 325 pieces of pie myself. I learned how to do these things, but Eric was there side by side with me. We come down to the church every year, and we're going to continue doing it. We want to continue with Palm Beach Harvest. They're a great organization. They are now partners with us, and we just love coming here. We want to see progress, one step at a time. We just need consistency. We're consistent. We need consistency. We're here to help you. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone. We're not that far away. Takes us 55 minutes to get here from Palm Beach Gardens. We love this community, and we want to stay with you. So thank you for giving us this opportunity tonight.
Thank you, Mr. DeRita.
And Tom came down for our grand opening and reopening of our gym. And I'd just like to mention that for the new commissioners, the governor has line item veto. So sometime even after the legislation have approved a item, it can be vetoed by the governor. It happened to MLK Park last year, 350,000. Belglade had a Boys and Girls Club that was approved by the legislation. He vetoed that. Not to criticize him, but just saying the power he has in his pen.
What's the Pahokee King Memorial Park? Where's that?
MLK Park.
Oh, okay.
I have a question in reference to that. Would this have anything to do, like if we were to try to open up a Veterans Memorial Park, would he be the guy to go to, or who do we go to for that?
Well, to open up a new park, it will be a whole nother process, not just Mr. DeRita, but it would take funding, it would take finding the land, making sure that we have adequate land. Right now, we need development, so we do have 3 parks. We also have areas in, for instance, Glades, Citizens Villa. They have a park in there, so local parks. So for us to open up a brand new park would not necessarily be something that is priority right now, but at the same time, it could be something we looked at for future, but it would take a plan. This plan that Mr. DeRita, these fundings, that, like you said, we had that discussion. Former city manager had that discussion with what we're gonna do years out.
So it's a reference to something we already have going?
Yeah,
Okay.
so those were in reference again to MLK, to our Commissioners Park. We received funding in the past, $550,000 with Mr. DeRita's help to fund Commissioners Park to get the things that we have over there, but there's still things that we need. For instance, even our gymnasium. Those funds came from Palm Beach County, but that was talks that was already in the works. So if we look at doing a park, another park here, it would be identifying the appropriate land but even more so having that discussion to see if that is something the community needs or for the commission to approve of. And not saying we couldn't do it, it's just prioritizing.
Right, okay.
You also have to look at this, that municipalities, there is, when you're asking for money, like especially water projects, there's usually a participation by the city or the county or this whatever municipality there is. And a lot of times, if we ask for money and we get it, and then the city comes back to us and says, we don't have our proportionate share, that's a real bad stigma to have on us. So we want to make sure that if we're going to ask for something and you're going to participate in it, that we know that that money's going to be there when we get the approvals. And the other thing is, when you're talking about the parks, it's great that if we want to do this for our kids and everything like that, but Ms. Adams hit it right on the head. You've got to look at the priorities where the money's going to fall. And if you ask for the park and you know you're not going to get it, you could have gotten it somewhere else if you thought the priorities out. So our job, we wrote a letter to the governor on the vaccinations for Pahokee. We were here when you opened up the gym, which is phenomenal, and we want to see that building completed. we deal with the county all the time for you. And, we don't go around and say, hey, we were with Commissioner McKinley, or we were with so-and-so. But that's part of what we do. We're in front of the county all the time, looking to help our communities that we represent. So those are things we just do on a daily basis, so that you're always in the forefront. And with the cooperation of the county and the cooperation with the state government, that's how the funding comes. So again, consistency is critical. They need to see us. They need to see you. We've taken you to Tallahassee. When it opens up again, this is going to be great, because we can go back and talk to the representatives and the senators. One of the greatest losses I've had is Alcee Hastings, that passed away. He and I had a great relationship, and he helped me with, I'm on the board of Kaiser University, and he was at our first football game this year, and I presented him with a Hastings jersey. I've been with Alcee, and when Judge Rogers introduced me to Alcee Hastings 20 years ago. These are the, when you've been able to deal with people like that, it's because they see you all the time, and you're consistently working with them to try to get something better for our communities. Thank
I
you.
have a question. So some of these grants it's like a partnership between the city and whatever grants. Like there's grants that when you ask for it, the city has to participate in whatever projects you're asking for?
Depending on the grant, a lot of the water projects, there has to be some type of participation. We know which projects they are, and we come to you and we sit down and say, look, if we want to go after this project, and when we got the money for the marina, it was because we were able to put together, at that point, a private-public partnership with the people that came here to develop some parts of the marina. That's how far back we go with Pahokee. But it depends on the project. There's always a percentage of something that needs to be put. The city may put up land, and we may be doing a project on that land. That's part of putting up, instead of cash, you're putting up property. So that's how the system works.
And Commissioner Perez, what it's called is a match. Sometimes they ask for a match, and it's regardless of whatever the funding stream may be. It may be $5,000, they may ask you for a match. So it may not necessarily be a grant that Mrs. DeRita is applying for. It may be a grant that we are writing in our office. They may require a match, whether it is in kind that we're putting up the manpower for, or it is monetary, or it is property. Like Mrs. DeRita said, it just depends, and it depends on the funding stream. So there's a lot of layers to when you're applying for grants. I've been writing grants for years. So there's layers that people don't realize that, oh, we got this money, but it was hard work, blood, sweat, and tears that it goes into applying for those grants. Thank you, Mr. DeRita.
And I have a question, like this MLK Park that we applied for the 250. How can I find out what you plan to do with that 250? What did you ask for?
Once those dollars start coming down, there are line items that when we put on the application that are specifically for those items in the park. So when we say park, it may be the tennis court, and I'm just speaking out the top of my head. So it may be for the tennis court, and those dollars are used for that. But it also may allow us to, with the grant, we can come back to them and say, we have this amount of dollars, those are task items that we would like to move over to this area. But it has to be approved. So we never jump up and say, oh, we got these dollars, we're just doing whatever we want with them. No, we have to respond to the state. We have to identify where we're moving those dollars. So never think that we're just doing what we want, because all that stuff has to be approved when we submit those applications, as well as when we decide to use those dollars. We have to go back to them and basically ask permission, is it okay for us? And then not to cut you short, but if we have any other questions, if we can send them to me, because I do have staff. Yes?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mayor?
Yes.
No, she's correct, but when we do respond to grants, the grants already have a scope of work. All we're doing is replying to that scope or finding a project that matches that scope. But we do not write the scope. We do not. So the scope comes from the state, and we just match a project that matches the scope from the state.
If I might make a suggestion, and I don't know if this is possible, but if, when we get ready for next year's ask, prior to that, can you all come and tell us what you think they're gonna go after, where the money's gonna be, so we can kind of work on coordinating
What I
that?
would recommend is that I would like to see us do a workshop,
Perfect.
okay? So we can come down here. You're very fortunate, because to get a person who understands grants like Ms. Adams does, it's unbelievable. Many cities do not have that benefit of having someone who understands the grant programs. And they are different from what we're asking for, but and the matching funds are different. But I think a workshop, if it's held the right way, and it's held amongst us, then we can break down all the issues that the city needs, then take a look at what the budgets are and what it's going to be. It'll probably be $100 billion. What would that be next year? $100 billion? I mean, the fortunate thing right now is that people are moving down from all these other places just to be in Florida, because Florida is a panacea. That's going to help us with our taxes. The prices of homes are going up. More professional people are coming down. So that's going to help the budget. And once we get tourism back going, you know, the cruise lines, that's a big thing right now. There's 160,000 people that work within our cruise systems. Those people need to get back to work. And we need to have the CDC agree that we can open them up now and not in 2022. That's a big help to us. At least the governor has gotten the theme parks to open up again. So, you know, it's going to be very difficult. Let's get through this year and bring some money home, but let's make sure we do it right next year, where we have a workshop, we all participate in it. We'll come down with, we've got 2 people in Tallahassee, you know Jordan. Jordan's there, Allison is there. We'll come down, all 4 of us, to sit here and say, okay, this is what we think is good. We make mistakes, but we're pretty accurate on where the money is and what we need to do to get it. And all I tell the city manager is, let's not be greedy. If we're greedy and they see the same thing happen time and time again, that pen, the veto pen, it comes out very easy. So, again,
Thank you.
please have a pleasant evening and a good week. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have another question, okay, so once she says the scope comes with whatever you're applying for, so when you do the ITB, now, do you guys write the ITB, or the ITB it's already?
Our department writes the ITB. It's based upon that scope, so it's not, again, something that we're pulling out the top of our head. So the ITB is based upon that scope, what we apply for in the funding, and it matches.
And once you get this money, the state comes back to find out that you spent it the right way.
Yeah.
And there's transparency
Yeah.
between the city and the state. So when you're building something, or it's a road improvement, they've got people here to say, all right, you spent $2 million on that road improvement. We want to see how the money was spent, where it was spent, and how it's done.
And all those documents are sent to the state.
Right.
From our contracts to our RTBs, regardless of what entity it is, part of those contracts, it says in there, it's documented that we have to submit, and we document when we're submitting. So
how often do they come and visually inspect that the money was
They're-
allocated?
they're out here, when we're doing road projects, we communicate with, whether it's FDOT, DEP, we are constantly communicating. They get pictures, they get updates, so there is nothing that's happening that they do not know about. And not to cut you short, Commissioner Perez, but because we have 4 others, any additional questions, you know, I'm happy for you to send them to me.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Pickney, I know I said for you to go next.
Thank you, Tim.
I'm going to
Thank
put
you.
Ms. Batista on the phone right quick. Thank you, Mr. Dorita. Ms. Batista, Francis, are you on the phone? Ms. Francis? Okay. Mr. Pickney?
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. Congratulations, Commissioner Perez and Commissioner Gonzalez on your appointment. We'll discuss what's going on in the Parks and Recs Department. As you know, we have our flagship program, our after-school care program, which has been online almost since the beginning of the pandemic. I do want to congratulate my staff, past and present, on doing a great job, because we were one of the only ones really out in the Glades that actually had after-school care program, summer camp, and virtual school during that time. So I really want to thank my guys and the hard work and the dedication it took to do that. With the aftercare program, we have, we're almost at 90% capacity right now. It is smaller than it was and it used to be because of COVID. We are still practicing those policies to keep our kids safe and our families safe in the community. At this time, we're doing our typical programming where the kids come in, they have a snack, they come in, they do homework, then they do some type of school activity, and then we take them for recess and play. So the program lasts from 2 to 5:30 every day, Monday through Friday. The kids are having a good time, so it's good to see them communicating with each other, playing with each other, because it was a pretty big drag on the kids not to be able to see each other. So with that, that leads into our gymnasium, which is open. Coach Osborne has done a great job of keeping the kids in there. Any night you come in there, it's about 40 to 50 kids, Monday through Wednesday. Thursdays and Fridays for our older citizens, I won't say older, 25 and up, they come out and play basketball. We separate them just so there's no, we don't want to mix the crowds with the older kids and the younger kids. So they appreciate that. We also have a pretty cool program, open gym volleyball. I don't know if you guys have it. So if anybody wants to come play volleyball, that is Wednesday nights, something a little different for the community. And going into that, what we're trying to do as a staff is trying to find sports that are not typical in the city of Pahokee. So another thing that we're doing next Thursday is we're taking middle schoolers and elementary schoolers out to Belglade to work with the county. They have a free lacrosse camp to expose our children in this community to a new sport. It could potentially be something that some are either girls or boys can actually get scholarships in. So if any parents want to, who's watching right now, who want to come out and register for that, we are taking registration for that in our office. Please call the Parks and Recs number, and we'd be glad to register your kids, and we will actually drive them out there to the practice next Thursday, and we'll bring them back. Now, I need the parents to come to the city and pick them up. I'm not going to drop them off at home, all right? One of the things we really want to do around here is I want the community to be involved, and for that, I need you guys to actually come into our parks, come into my office. I met Mr. Gonzalez first time. We talked about soccer 2 years ago. And going into that right now, I'm very proud to say that we actually have a Pahokee soccer league. And I would like to say it's all the city, but it's not. It's actually a lot of community members came together, Ms. Hernandez and the coaches out there that come to do an excellent program. And PBSO has actually sponsored a lot of the stuff that's going on. So it's a great example of what happens when our community comes together and works together. Trifold, the city, the community, and you have the sheriff's department. So awesome thing that's going on. I'm very appreciative of what they're doing. You want to come out on Friday nights? I think I saw Commissioner Bolden out last Friday night for our grand opening of our soccer game. So excellent thing. We do play soccer on the turf right now, so I know that was a myth before, but that's what's going on right now. So Coach Osborne also has football sign-up. It's one of the things that we've had issues before, making sure we get registration turned in. We're going to start early this year. So registration will start this Friday. We're also doing what we call early bird special. So we will lower the price down to $100. The kids for about 6 weeks will be able to pay $100 for registration. The price will go up to that. The season starts. It's very soon. June 28th is official day we can start playing football back in Pahokee for our youth. So the high school is going to start spring football, but our football season will start June 28th. So we're excited about that. If anybody wants to sponsor kids, I guess call City Hall and talk to them, and we'll take any sponsorship, any donations out like that. So
yeah, we'll talk into a couple of kids sponsor.
So the league that we're playing is Mid-Florida, is one of the largest and most competitive leagues in South Florida, Central Florida area. So if you guys want to check that out. So great thing. Besides that, we have coming up a couple programs for some of our residents. We're looking at doing a yoga program. in May, and also we're trying to start our fitness program. One of the things with fitness programs, we're just trying to have I won't say certified, but a quality instructor come in and do the program. So right now we're trying to find the right person for this community. So it is coming. We'll have it soon, and once we have all the information available and that person vetted and background checked, we will pass out the flyers, and we give it to y'all first, and we'll go from there. So trying to look for my list. That's pretty much it that I have. I do want to say PBSO has been generous to give our soccer team meal packets, frozen food. We're providing things from cereal to broccoli to waffles, so it's enough to feed a family of 5 for 5 days. The soccer team gets about 60 to 80. PBS has also donated every Wednesday up until June almost 100, 120 boxes. So we're giving out those boxes to the community. Doesn't matter who you are, come to the Parks and Rec Department and we will give it to you. No questions asked.
And that's on Wednesdays after 2
That's on
o'clock.
Wednesdays. So please come on down, come out and support us. And that, my folks, is pretty much it.
Particularly, if you would, I know Commissioner Perez had asked about the scope of work at Martin Luther King Park. Would you tell her some of the items and things that we're planning on at Martin Luther King, including the health trail and
So when I first started, Martin Luther King was one of the parks that I saw need the most help. And one of the things we want to do is make it more central for the community. And what we really want to do is focus on bringing amenities for the community use. Number one, bringing back a walking path back out there that's cut. Number two, me and the mayor talked about, they have these new cool exercise centers. And it's not just one or two, it's a group of them. We also want to put a playground there. So what happens is when the families come to the park, if you want to exercise, if you want to play basketball, if you want to walk around, all that will be a sight distance. So if you're walking, you still want to see your kids and make sure they're safe, you can still walk around the track or use exercise equipment. So those are some of the things, revamping some of the pavilions, resurfacing the basketball courts, some of the things that we want to do. Some of our kids say, hey, is there a way to do a pool? I don't know if we have money for that right now, but maybe something in the future that the commission might want to look at. But anything's possible by us working together. I just want you guys to remember that. And that's what, with all us going in one direction, I think that's possible in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Pickney, I appreciate that.
What about summer camp?
Oh, I apologize. Summer camp is already scheduled for us. It is June 21st through July 30th. We were awarded scholarships, from Palm Beach County Youth Services. I'm imploring parents in this community, please go and sign up, okay? Even if you don't sign up for the City of Pahokee's camp, you can sign up for other camps in the area. It pays for everything for the kid to go to the camp. All the field trips, all the registration, one shirt. So I think it's imperative, not just for us, but also for the community. And it's a resource that we don't tap into. When I go out to the county and I talk to them, we'll maybe only use maybe 15 or 20% of the money that's available out here.
That's
So,
free too.
and it's free. All the parents have to do is call us, go online and sign up. You don't even have to go in person. So I think it's awesome. We're also back with ELC, Early Learning Coalition, so our kids do have the ability, if they do have that, they can go to our summer camp.
What's the age?
Excuse me, our ages are school age, 5 years old up to 15.
And the website for them to?
It's PalmBeachCountyYouthServices.com. And then you go on to summer camp, and then you go to parent portal.
Yeah.
Okay?
And is some of this information out on our webpage so that the
I
public is
believe,
aware of
yes,
some of it?
Miss Adams and Miss Nelson
Okay.
have put it up on the website.
And I'd just like to say this too, just for recognition. Ricky Jackson donated $5,000 for a new football scoreboard. It's gonna take $10,000 to get it up there, but at least we got half of that. And second thing, last year, we actually, the city of Pahokee actually formed a soccer league. You remember the criticism that occurred, but no one signed up for it. So, I mean, we could have dropped the ball somewhere, but we did form it and tried to get that information out so the parent could sign up their children for soccer.
We had it last year, but COVID happened. So right when we got started, Coach Osborne did a great job. What he always tries to do is start what we call skill camps. So get the parents interested, get them comfortable with our sites. And it's usually free, and we say, come out and play soccer, play basketball, have a coach teach you, and then we go, hey parents, now that you're comfortable with us teaching your kids, come out and join the league. So that was something that was planned last year, yes.
The football sign up, how much is the football per child?
realistically, I'm gonna give you a number. It really costs around $180 to $200 really to really do it right. But our early bird special is only $100 right now to start with.
And the early bird special is, what's the time frame for the early bird?
I believe it's, hold on, Coach Osmond has it for me right here. It's April 12th through June 4th, okay? Regular registration will be June 7th through July 2nd.
And Commissioner, those flyers are on the website already,
Okay.
so
So
they can
$100
access.
is the early bird, but 200 is the.
Well, no, we're you know, cities are very generous for the community, so the highest price we'll do is our regular registration will be $150. Our late registration, which will be July 5th, July 30th, will be $175. What parents have to understand is, we would like to have everything paid for and provided for them before the kids really step out on the field. So realistically, by June 28th, we would like for the majority of our kids to be signed up, because there's a lot that goes into it. All kids have to have physicals. All kids have to have parent releases. There's rules to everything. Kids, you know, there's sign-ins every day for games. And then we just want to explain to the parents that the travel arrangements, okay? Because we can't carry, if we do 4 teams like we did last year at 25 or 27 kids, we don't have enough buses to carry all of them. So there's times where we have to say, well, this group goes this week, another group another week. So, and some of our destinations are pretty far. They're about an hour away.
Another question, the soccer for the adults.
Mm-hmm. We're working on that. I think, you know, when they come in, we don't.
He asked a question.
No, go ahead and finish that one. I got a question.
Okay. We are working on that. They come in for the adults, as long as it's under the time that we have staff here, okay, we can work with them. So, like I said, Mr. Gonzalez talked to me before, and I said that would be something we definitely consider. It just has to be done the right way at the end of the day.
So what, like, when you say staff, because most of them work and, you know, they practice after work, so.
Well,
What
I mean,
hours would that be?
well, right now we're open till 8. Okay. After the kids play soccer, it may be something that we can look into them having time after that. But we're open from 8 to 8 every day, and it's really a struggle right now with the staff that we got to even keep that open at this time.
So Commissioner Perez and Commissioners, if you have any suggestions, just email them to us, and then we'll be happy to meet and pinpoint and brainstorm some ideas. Mr. Johnson, your quick question.
Mike, do you have any programs like that to help you? Say if I got 4 kids, that's almost $800. You know, do you have a program?
Yeah, so we have a step program where after 2 kids we start giving discounts, and that's for all our sports. Whether it's basketball $60, football at $100, or in the future when we do baseball or something like that, it'll be the same thing. The more kids you have, the probably the bigger the discount will be.
And that's where getting sponsors come in.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Pickney.
Well, I'd like to tell you personally, thank you for being out there for the kids.
No
Yeah.
problem.
Let me see. Ms. Batista, you ready? Okay. Mr. Johnson. And we're gonna try to please make this brief, so then that way.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Congratulations, Mr. Perez, Mr. Gonzalez. Alvin Johnson, Public Service Director, been here for 32.5 years. Okay. I'm Public Service Director / Marina / Cemetery. Okay, I run all 3 of those jobs. First, Public Service. We're doing real good with Public Service. Got like 1 or 2 more people that I got to hire so we can have a full staff, and then we're all right with that one. Marina, I got to get some help out there. Ms. Ramsey said that she's going to get us some people with work, career source. That's going to be good. Also with the cemetery, the same thing. We're going to get some, we need help out there. Our bad season is rainy season. You know, in rainy season, we tend to get behind because of the rain and stuff, but we do take care of it. So anything other than that, we're good.
You want to briefly talk about, do you have a major need for equipment? I think we got some new lawnmowers and weed eaters.
Yes.
Are you good?
Yes.
As far as
Okay.
equipment?
We did get 2 brand new lawnmowers, 2 brand new trailers, got more trucks, but we do need exactly 2 pieces of new equipment. That's a backhoe and bush hog. We've been waiting on a bush hog. We get those pieces of equipment, then we'll be good. Yeah, tractor, well, I call it all one together, so.
It's one piece of equipment or two?
It's a tractor, but pulls the bush
But-
hog.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, that's what I thought.
And I have asked Mr. Johnson for a list of what he needs to be able to adequately do their job, not only for here in the city, but also to be able to do what we need to do at the cemetery.
Cemetery.
So the bush hog is one thing, or it's two?
Well, it's a tractor and a bush
Oh,
hog.
it's tractor and
The tractor pull the bush hog to cut the
oh, that's
grass.
a big piece in the back.
Yes, yes, yes.
How wide a bush hog you looking for? How wide a bush hog you looking for?
How wide?
How wide of a bush hog are you looking for?
I'm looking for the, actually the wings,
The ones like span out?
the bat wings. Yeah,
Okay.
it'll take care of a lot of the grass that's
And
out
a
there.
and a backhoe.
Yes,
And
That's what dig the hole.
yes.
Um,
We have one, but we let the cemetery use because theirs down.
Oh, so you need, okay.
We
I
have
see
to
what
go
you're
and
saying.
get
You
back
need
and
one for the
forth.
city.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson, give them an update on where they can, if they need cemetery services, where they would be able to locate
Okay, yes.
our cemetery manager.
Our cemetery, okay, our cemetery office out there right now is being inspected for mold and everything. So right now, our manager that's out there, she's gonna be working up here at the recreation department over in, one of Mike's classrooms. Yeah, in the athletic office. Her name is
I
Miss
didn't hear
Kelly.
that part. What'd you say?
She will be based on the athletic office.
Athletic office. Okay, that's
Yes.
what I didn't hear.
So if someone come for funeral services, they normally go to City Hall anyway first,
Yes.
right? Or then
They go to City Hall first.
And then we direct it over to?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that on our website so that
Or is
people
it
can?
go-
No, we just made that arrangement, so we're still kind of working out some kinks, but we will acknowledge and, how you're able to locate her. And that is just a temporary, but we just want to acknowledge that right
So
now.
signs will be at
Okay.
the house, at the cemetery, 'cause most people go straight to the
Yes,
cemetery.
most people,
Yes.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that's where I would go. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that's where most people would go is up to the cemetery.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay. I have Ms. Batista on the line, Ms. Batista, who is our Director of Finance.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm kind of driving, so I have to pull over real quick. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight. I had prior obligations that I had to attend to, but I am the Finance Director, Batista Francis / Assistant City Manager. I'm not sure. I'm going to try and summarize finance as quick as I can, but I currently feel that the finance department or the city of Pahokee is in a better financial position than we were when I first came into the building 4 years ago. As I stated in my previous email to the commission, that when I first came into the city, we probably had $170,000 in the general fund, versus now we operate at $600,000 to $700,000 a month in the general fund. Our current expenses runs us about $300,000 to $400,000, which means that we have 2 months of current expenditures in our general fund, and in our investment fund inside PNC, at the PNC Bank, we currently have $700,000, $600,000 to $700,000, which is another 2 months of our expenditures. This means that the city can run for about 4 to 5 months without any additional revenue. We have currently been able to operate during the pandemic, during the COVID, without having any help from the government, without having to do any PPP loans for our employees. All of our employees have been working and being paid with the city. What else should I? Okay, then also there's a lot of talk about transparency. A report from finance is sent out quarterly to the commissioners. In this report, it lists everything that the finance department does, from revenues to expenditures, how many bank accounts we have, the balances of each bank account is on this report. It's about a 37-page report. This report is sent to each commissioner and also uploaded to our email, to our website for the citizens to view. We also send out a monthly smaller financial report that's about 10 pages that summarizes the overall budget to actual. So this is finance being very transparent. I'm not sure exactly how much more transparent we can be. If you guys have any suggestions, please let us know what you want, what you need. We will try and get that information to you. The finance department, our doors are always open. You can come and ask for whatever you need. We have no issues giving it to you. I think that sums it up. Did I say anything?
You got it, Ms. Batista.
I think that's good.
Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm driving. I'm trying to get everything. I can't even look at my paperwork. So, yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. Like I said, you have your quarterly financial report. Last quarterly report was sent out December. The next quarterly financial report will be from March. It'll be sent out at the end of April. It'll give you all our financial information. I think that's about it.
Thank you, Ms.
All right?
Batista.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And at the commission's request, we did submit to you and we attached it in your, with your documents this evening, the listing of what the bank accounts are with the breakdown. And like she said, if you have any questions, please contact us at City Hall. We're there tomorrow. I'm there at 7:30. Rest of the staff gets there, so we'll be happy to answer all your questions. So next, I'm sorry.
And one thing we're going to be doing, especially with the new selection of the city managers, having quarterly verbal financial reports. We get them on a monthly basis, but quarterly, we would like to have the finance director go over the financial report, and we can ask questions when we have to or need to. We certainly want to try to put that forth on a regular basis.
Okay. And last but not least, Ms. Polanco will be speaking on building, planning, and zoning. Ms. Polanco,
I have to go up there.
and our building, planning, and zoning also includes code enforcement department.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. The Building, Planning, and Zoning Department, which is also the Code Enforcement Department, it also handles business tax receipts for the city. We had a report. In this report, the first description is notice of violations. We had 16 notices of violations. This is for the year of 2021, starting as of January. Some of the ones that are not related to notice of violations were courtesy letters or warning door hangers. Sorry. Red tags, the courtesy letters, there was 30 of them. Red tags were 20. Complaints received, 40. Permits issued, 75. We also have a rezoning application in process, which is subject to the second reading approval, and that is, we only have one. We had new businesses. We had 8 businesses. Some of those are storefront businesses, and others are like home-based businesses, daycares and stuff like that. So if you have any questions, and just let me know. Also, I'd like to thank the staff in the department, which is Ms. Dean and also Ms. Lee, for their hard work and dedication to the department.
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
One question. I know we passed an ordinance on every 5 years the businesses have to like pressure clean or so if they're front. I know we should be at that mark now.
Yes, Vice Mayor. We just actually sent out, Building, Planning, and Zoning, Code Enforcement just actually took out the letters, mailed them out to area businesses that applies to.
The number is included in the courtesy letters that I mentioned, with 30 of them throughout the year.
Okay.
If you have any questions.
And then the final part, as Mayor Babb said, on Sunday, due to the storm, we had a tree branch that fell down on an electrical wire that turned around and hit our shed. That caused our shed to catch a fire. Luckily, with God's blessing, it did not affect City Hall. It did not fall onto City Hall, because with the winds and rains, that could have happened. So with that, we lost power, all power. Basically, we shut down, it shut us down. We had no FP&L power. Generator did not kick on for whatever reason. We lost our internet. And when I say lost, that means that we did not have service. So Comcast had to come out, redo our lines. FP&L had to come out and redo the lines. They had to actually physically come out and cut down the wire and install new lines for us. A tree was wrapped up in the line. Phone lines went down, so we were out of service. And we had to work very hard to make sure that we got busy and got everyone out. Because what happened was, when I made the decision Sunday, the smell in the building, I could not have staff in there. We have staff with allergies, asthma. There was no way we could allow staff to come through there, and I was not going to let that happen. I had to have an electrician to actually come out before FP&O would do anything. So that meant making sure that the electrician, Grid 1, was there early Monday morning in order for us to be able to move forward, just to take the steps to get power back up from FP&O, just to make sure that we had Comcast back up, just to make sure that our IT professional had what he needed in order to connect us to the server. Even with our generator kicking out, they had to go in and physically flip that button for whatever reason. So we wanted to make sure that staff was safe. When I felt it was better for at least a few staff to come in from code enforcement, the building planning and zoning, just so we can have someone in finance there, that happened. So we were able to function at closer to the end of the day, but we were in there functioning. And we opened up this morning, back to normal, not missing a beat.
Yeah.
So we made sure that all of us as a team, we work together. We talk to each other. And this is not me as interim city manager, but me as the community economic development director. Every day we're working, we're talking to each other, we're communicating, we have each other's back. And whether it is whatever city manager or interim is in there, we're going to continue to do the same thing that we have been doing. Transparency, making sure we're working hard, as Ms. Batista says, all that information is there, our finances. In order for finance to do what they're doing, they have to communicate with the grants department. In order for us to do what we're doing, we have to communicate with finance. We have to talk to each one of these directors and staff, because it's not about just what we want or just what the commissions want. It means we have a conversation with our citizens. So with that, that is all of my city manager's report. Thank you all.
Thank you. And one thing I would like to see, and it's probably going to have to come with the permanent city manager, but this have not been done that I see. These code violation and notice of code enforcement say property highly overgrown. I've asked for some type of signage, and it's more for the public concern. I don't tell you how many questions I get. What are you all doing about this particular property? What about this building that's falling down? So if citizens can notice that these things are under code enforcement, it's a long process, but they know that the city has addressed that and is addressing it. That's something would be helpful.
Well, one thing, Mayor, I'm sorry to cut you off, but one thing that me and my cohort has talked about as far as community economic development is when we did our East Lake project, we had a town hall meeting. When we did Barfield Highway, we had a town hall meeting. Me and code enforcement walked for East Lake project and handed those letters out. We've talked about for our, when it comes to the, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. When it comes to the information getting out to the public, there's City Week, City Government Week, which usually takes place in September, October. So what we would like to do is moving forward is to make sure that whether it's during commission meeting or one day a week, having a public outreach. That way our community understands what government is, what takes place. Not from having those signs out to knowing the purpose of me doing this department heads meeting is so that everyone understands what we do each and every day. And so that the citizens are aware. If you have concerns, if you have property concerns, you need to contact building planning and zoning. But also communicating with our public to make sure they're educated. Because part of that is when we are doing mitigation with FEMA, when I'm filling out the forms for FEMA, it means that I have to, in order for us to get points through the CRS, which is the flood zone and all of that, we have to do public outreach. So when we're communicating with our residents, businesses, they understand that, okay, we're giving you the proper information. We're hoping to help you with any concerns that you may have and how to address those. That's why we're here.
Okay.
Something I would like to suggest, because I get calls about it all the time, and I know that's the $80,000 we have to tear down. But maybe just a sign in front of that property that says this property is going to be torn down and become part of the park would alleviate a bunch of calls about that building that's fallen down.
And that's
that kind of
something that,
thing.
yes, we will
Yeah.
have in place. Like I said, from East Lake to Barfield, we're kind of behind track, but we will make sure that we get those signs up.
And even the coconut tree that's leaning,
Yep.
that's gonna be
Yeah.
removed too. People need to know that.
Yeah,
That's,
just stuff like
we
that,
looking
so they
forward to that.
know, as they're
Yeah.
riding by, they can see a sign, then they can pull over and read it if they want to.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for that report, City Manager. Now we'll move to the City Attorney report, if she has one.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We have been working together with staff on any questions that they have of a legal nature, and we will continue to do that. In addition to that, we are zealously pursuing any of the foreclosure actions to try to seek any and all monies that the city is due. And you all should have received a check recently from our office, and so we continue to do that. And I'd also like to say, the gentleman earlier said something about Alcee Hastings, and sometimes Congressman Alcee Hastings and his death, and sometimes it's not, you get used to a certain person and you don't quite realize the benefit of having a long tenured public servant like him. And just publicly, he, just a week or two before, of all the attorneys that I'm sure Congressman Hastings must have known, I was very happy to be appointed by him as his designee to the Judicial Nominating Conference for federal court judges, and I was very honored by that about 2 weeks before he passed. And so I think that this area and all of his district will miss him, and in his memory, I just felt like I needed to say something about him and how special I think he was to the entire South Florida community. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And we did observe him in his honor by having the flags flat half staff for at least a week, which is unusual, but we did that. Thank you. All right, now we will move into, we don't have any old business. We do have 3 items on our new business. The first item is the former city manager payout. We received a amount from our human resource director. I personally went into City Hall, reviewed the various sick and vacation leave, tried to match that up as best I can, asked for some explanation of the number of hours. It appears that much as I can personally as a mayor, I had a second eye by looking at it. So we have the figure. It just customarily that the commission approved the payout amount is in his contract that he received. Total 100% of his sick and vacation days. There was a lengthy list of time he did take, so that was deducted. You're looking to see if it's included in this?
Yeah.
I know she's on an email, I'm not sure.
I didn't get
I
it.
don't think they were,
March
I don't
24th.
think they were up here.
It's not in there. It was
Okay.
previously, I believe, sent in an email to the
Could
commission. and
maybe you
previously
could call her real quick and see if you, and while you're doing that, City Attorney, do we need some type of resolution to approve that, or we just, as a vote, just?
You do not. You
yeah,
had it
okay.
on as a future agenda item, and you can vote that
Okay.
up. Yes.
So we just need to, again, share their total amount so we are all aware of it.
Give me a minute to reach out to
I thought everybody brought theirs. I didn't even bring mine, but I know she emailed it.
I didn't
to us,
get
too.
it.
You didn't get the email?
No.
Hold on.
Did
I don't
you
think
get
they were
it?
up here at the time, but I
No?
think I got
Okay, did you have your email?
I think I do.
I have mine.
Okay, maybe you can share it with us, one of y'all, so we all know. and we'll make sure you get it in writing to the two new
We're
commissioners.
not
You didn't
gonna vote
receive?
on that today, are we?
I checked my last email
Yeah,
to
that's
see
what
it
he's
was
talking
okay.
about.
Huh?
We're gonna vote on this
I don't think it
tonight?
has to be.
If we need to delay it, we can, but it's 30 days prior to his resignation or termination that we normally pay out the.
I have not even seen it,
Okay.
so I won't be prepared to vote on that on,
Yeah, it's not really,
you know,
not really fair to them.
see
if
it,
they haven't
review
seen
it,
any of
you know?
He will, I believe when I spoke with HR, he will receive his, it will come in two separate payments, because he will receive his payout. The second portion of it will be sent, I believe she said tomorrow or Thursday, but he will get up until the second when he resigned. That will be paid out, and then the remaining, which I believe is the vacation and sick time, all of that will come. But we will make sure that you receive what the previous email was. I think that was
So
sent.
he's already gotten
I think
paid
it's-
or getting paid?
No, I
Repeat
think
that?
you're
She's talking about this last check that he
Oh.
worked up
Yes.
until April the 2nd.
Second.
And
Okay.
one thing we don't have to worry about, April the 6th would have been his 6th anniversary, although it still would have been prorated. He would have got a lump sum of vacation and sick. That won't even kick into effect. So the
just was
sick and
on this.
vacation that we're paying him is for previous years that he worked and accumulated vacation and sick time,
Right, so
minus the time he took.
I sent, when I got this on, I think it was, I don't know, probably the 24th or 25th, then I sent Ms. Ramsey back an email and asked for a breakdown of vacation and sick leave by year, and she said, okay, will do. And then I've never gotten it, so do we have a breakdown of this by year?
It's a generated computer report. Hopefully, it can be broken out to each year for a total. We should be able to
Yeah,
apply
because
to that.
in his contract, it says that, he shall receive compensation for unused sick and annual leave in accordance with city policy. But doesn't the city policy say that if you don't use it, you lose it?
That may have been the original, I believe, original contract. If you look at that second or third amendment, I think in 2017, it changed to that he would receive the full amount of his accumulated leave. That was one of the things we was kind of looking at if we had to negotiate his contract, was try to get it in a where he did have a cap, but he don't have a cap, and we never did get to that point of capping his vacation, similar to our general employees.
Mayor, if I may, I have Finance Director
Okay.
on the phone that she has something to contribute.
Okay.
Ms. Batista? I'm sorry.
Can hear
You
us.
got it on speaker too.
What
Okay,
happened is, because it was, you can hear me now?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what happened was, because we had his payout put on the agenda, we couldn't include it into payroll today. But we did pay him out last week in this payroll. Tomorrow, HR plans on doing another payroll, a separate payroll, in order to pay him out. So he will still get both this week.
That doesn't
make
answer the
sense.
question about the sick leave
Okay,
and
I can hear her.
vacation time.
Could you repeat that, Commissioner Perez, and put the mic, we could not hear you.
What she was talking about is itemized of his vacation time that's owed to him and his vacation, sick and vacation, not the pay.
I believe I have to get that from HR. I don't have a copy of that. If it was emailed, I don't know if it was emailed to you all previously.
It was emailed in the amount of $571,617 in leave.
Right,
That's,
but there
that's
was,
his, that was,
Yeah, but
that's
we
his,
want to know for what? What
That's-
days, what time, what, what does that entail?
that's what we go over the last 5 years.
yeah.
So that's the pay, that's his payout, which is, I think Mrs. Ramsey probably been good
Right,
to,
I tried to call her, I did not, she didn't answer.
to get on the phone.
Okay, that's why I called in.
Okay.
But, that's what I was told today. We're gonna have to run the second payroll to pay him out tomorrow. The second payroll tomorrow.
Okay, what is she talking about? Because she's talking
When
about
I said
payroll.
about how he would be paid, he would get two payments. One was because we'll have our payment, our checks processed this week. We will receive payment this week, so he will get his regular check, and then the payout will come in a separate
Is this
payment.
the payout you're talking about? This
The payout would be the
73,000?
vacation and the sick leave.
That
Right,
would be the
but
vacation and sick leave.
We haven't
right, Ms.
approved that,
Francis?
so she can't cut that tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if we don't approve it tonight, then she can't cut it tomorrow.
Is that correct?
I can hear that one.
She says if it's not approved for tonight, it will not be paid out tomorrow.
That would be a question for the city attorney, because I'm not sure how it works with the contract. I know any other employee that leaves the city, we have to pay them out, but I'm not sure how the contract works for the city manager, so that would be a question for the city attorney.
City attorney?
I'm looking for the provision in the contract. But the bottom line is, I guess the commission, they need the information, right? So is it just a
Right.
matter of you sending them the
But the
information
information
so
was
that they have it?
previously sent to the
Right, but
commission.
if they don't have it and they're here now and they're willing to, consider the issue, can't you just send it to them now and they review the information?
The bottom line that all we're reviewing is a total amount. I don't know
Yeah,
what
we
that
don't have
amount
any
is for.
breakdown.
I'm not ready to just say, okay, I'm gonna give you $500,000 for 5 years that you didn't take any vacation, because I don't really know what days you're talking about. Vacation or sick time?
And I agree.
How did you come up with that figure?
That's what I asked Ms. Ramsey to give us a breakdown so that we would know what years she was talking about, how much leave, vacation he had for each year, and how much sick time he had for each year.
Okay, city manager, if you could have human resource provide a breakdown of the total years and then the total amount for each item, sick and vacation.
Okay.
Now, that's not going to be broken down day by day, but at least hopefully that program should give us a 2016, this was his balance in vacation or
Well,
sick.
because like everywhere you work, you're allowed so many sick days for the year, and you get 1 week, 2 weeks paid vacation, so it shouldn't be so hard to figure out.
Right, instead of lumping it all in one sum. And
Well,
then also, I would like to request that we get a copy of, did he pay us back the $5,840.92 that was from the credit card? And if so, do we have some kind of
I think you
receipts?
got that email, because I got the same email also with the
Right, all I got was
receipt.
a
You got a
receipt,
receipt from the finance
and I
department where
asked
it was
for
paid.
a copy of the bank deposit that day as well to make sure that it got deposited in our bank account because it said it was cash.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I do have an answer with,
Okay.
there was a question about how it's paid out. And under benefits, Section 9 of Mr. Williamson's contract, it says, vacation leave, city managers shall receive a lump sum allocation of 140 hours per year of vacation leave commencing April 6, 2017, and each anniversary date thereafter. And as far as sick leave is concerned, there is, like the mayor stated earlier, there would have been a lump sum allocation of 120 hours of sick leave commencing April the 6th, 2017, and each anniversary date thereafter. So we know that as a baseline, you have those two leave amounts that would occur every year.
So doesn't that, if it commences on that date, then anything prior to that, we're not obligated to?
Well, when you say anything prior to that, you're not obligated to it if depending on his, I don't know what date his
Yeah.
resignation was.
He
but-
started in 15, right?
2021, no, we're not paying the lump sum of vacation or sick, but he didn't reach his anniversary date. This figure here is for previous years. It don't include 2021. That lump sum, if he'd have worked again, maybe another week, he would have got it, but that would have even been prorated. We was only would have paid him for the equivalent of a week out of a year.
Right, but
vacation time.
I'm saying that this says this commences April 6, 2017, so anything prior to April 6, 2017, we don't pay for.
Well, he had already accumulated some, I guess, something before that, because this was, it looks like it's supposed to be an amendment to, it says Amendment 3, but it's actually Amendment 2 to whatever that contract was. So whatever he had prior to,
Yeah.
that was a part of his leave that he had already accumulated, and then this was an amendment to the contract saying, and I think what this did was it just gave additional, the commission at the time gave additional time or additional hours than what was.
So what did he have before that,
I can look back at the contract, hold on.
please?
How many amendments are there to the contract?
It appears to be actually, well, it says Amendment 3. I think it was just the second amendment. I think it was the first amendment to the contract, but
So there's a contract and 3 amendments?
It looks to be a contract. It's an initial contract that was not signed, but it was approved. So basically, it was approved by the commission. And that initial contract called for, in terms of the hours, let me tell you. It looks like, okay, the regular compensation changed in the amendment, and in addition to that, the benefits, well, the benefits vacation was 120 hours, and then sick leave was actually increased because it used to be 80. The initial contract was 80 hours of sick leave on his start date and each anniversary date thereafter up until the amendment, which was in 2017. And then the vacation time, appears to be the same. I think it was 120 in both the amendment and the initial contract.
So we make sure that
You said
anything that we're
140
paying
earlier.
previous to that, we're paying on those hours and not on the new hours, correct?
So
That's why I asked for the breakdown.
Right, so whoever has the breakdown, I don't have that, but
None of us.
so it starts at the beginning of the contract when he was first, it's dated 2/27/15, and so let's just assume from that date to 2017, it's whatever the rates are in this first contract, and then it increases, at least with respect to the sick leave, in the 2017 contract. And there's an additional salary, and there's, some other changes that you all made, that were made by the commission at the time. So in terms of finance and what finance has, I'm just telling you what you asked the question about what the benefits were. I'm just answering that question. I don't know what the
So
amounts
in
are.
5 years, he never took a sick
No, he
leave
took-
and never took a vacation?
No,
I don't know
no.
that.
He took plenty of sick time and plenty of vacation. I would admit all of them is not 8 hours, but I have a stack. I got it from the human resource. All of his leave requests is probably at least 30, maybe 40 leave that he has taken. Again, most of them are not a total of 8 hours per day, but that's how she entered that into the system to deduct the time that he have. So that can be shared with commission as needed, that, with the breakdown, whatever leave requests that there are, you can have that information also.
And I have a question, like when you say a lump sum of 140 hours a year, what is like the regular hours that, does he tell us what his hours are supposed to be? How you breaking down the hours, the days, the hours?
I don't know that. That's a way above my, that's going to be on your
Should have
file.
been in the contract, right?
No, it's not in
So we're
it's
giving
not in
him
the contract.
140 hours and 120 hours, but we don't
That you have to
specify
ask
how many hours he's
right. You have to
supposed
ask the finance people
work.
that I don't know that.
If you
answer the
go
question.
and Google city manager contract, and I'm not justifying the contract one way or the other, you would see similar lump sum payments to that effect. Not on every city manager, but quite a few have those annual lump sum. And in the
does it
event,
state how his work hours or his, I mean, he could come 2 days a week and get 140 hours at the end of the year for sick of vacation? I mean, it's gotta say somewhere what do we require? I mean, what are his hours of performance or?
Yeah, I think some of that is kind of broken down in the contract where he working full-time at minimum 8 hours. Sometimes it's over that, but I believe the contract kind of specify that if you look closely in there, it shows that.
I don't have the contract. I need the
Okay.
contract
I
and
think
all
it
the
would-
amendments.
I think it would be a good thing if we give the 2 new commissioners a copy of the contracts that he has, a copy of the emails that we received, the breakdown, all of that information so that they have time to look at it before we come back. We're after 9 o'clock, we gotta adjourn because of ordinance
Wait, we
2019-02.
haven't
It rolls
put
over
the
to the
new
next meeting.
agendas, and we haven't voted for the vice mayor.
Okay.
It rolls over.
Let's, it'll be a few minutes after, but let's go ahead and, we'll table that. We'll make sure that the breakdown of the yearly, distribution along with the leave requests is we can attach, so you'll have enough information to at least, vote on that.
So she needs to know that she can't cut that check to him tomorrow. That's 73,000 without our approval. City manager?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay.
Okay, let's go ahead with the, city vice mayor appointment. Get that out the way if we need to. More than likely, we're gonna have to table the city, clerk discussion. Go ahead and entertain a motion for the appointment of a vice mayor.
Yeah, I put a motion to nominate Ms. Commissioner Boland for, city mayor, the vice mayor.
I second it.
It has been moved by Commissioner Perez and properly seconded by Commissioner Gonzalez for the appointment of Commissioner Boland as the new vice mayor. Call for questions. Ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
No.
Mayor Bab. Mayor Bab.
Yes. Motion carries by majority vote. We're going to go ahead and table, due to time restraint, we're going to table the city clerk position internally. We're going to be looking at least for an interim, someone just to fill in to our next meeting that we can appoint officially an interim city clerk. Not sure if we're going to have one, but we're going to do all we can.
Mayor, if
to-
I may, would you all like another presentation done by the Florida City Clerks Association, similar to what we had?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And could we vote on opening I like to open the meetings for, public.
We can put that on future agenda item, right?
Yes.
Put it on for next
Okay.
time.
We'll just add that to future agenda item for discussion.
And can I keep adding for the future agenda items?
Huh?
Can I keep adding for the future agenda items? There's
Okay.
other things I wanna do. I wanna do the 2019-02,
2019-02.
yeah.
What is that?
That, has to do so that we could be free to, talk to each other, talk to the public, talk to us, and also take away the city having to be represented by it's number 13, where the city attorney has to represent any employees, commissioners, charter employees of any legal to represent them in legal matter. They're supposed to pay if they have any judgments, any things that come against them. I don't think that's right. So I wanna get rid of that.
Talking to commissioners, I can tell you now, that would be a violation. I'm not quite sure where.
Here during the meeting.
You're saying commissioner talk to each other or shouldn't talk to each other?
No, that we should be able to address one another, and the public should address us, instead of now everything has to go through the city mayor.
She wanna change the
That's the
ordinance.
way, yeah, that's the way it reads.
Or that particular.
And also number 13, which I don't think the city, the taxpayers should be responsible if any of us break the law. The city, the citizens, the taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for my legal representation if I did something wrong for the city, or if I get any judgments, or if I get anything
We
to
can
come
add
against
that,
us.
but what that referring to is when you're doing it within the authority of your duties, not anything illegal. If you break the law, you go and assault somebody or you steal
No,
something.
I know that, but
Yeah.
if doing my work, I violate and I do something wrong, I should not, I should have to pay for my legal expenses and not, have the taxpayers.
If you did something wrong, the taxpayer's she's not gonna represent someone who broke the law.
That's not how it reads. That's not
Now,
how
if
I
they're
read it.
doing something within the rights or authority of their position, and say, for instance, someone sued them, alleged that they did something without having a proof that the law was broken, then the city attorney has the responsibility to represent them because they're doing it within the legal boundary of their position. But anything of breaking the law, stealing, assault, misusing public office, no one is going to represent you. You may have to represent yourself, and if you're proven innocent, you may request now that the city reimburse you for your legal expense. You have that right. The commission has to even approve that. But I don't think that is designed for a person who's wrongly doing something to get legal representation.
So while I'm working, I did something that I should not have done, and I get charged for.
You want to address that just
Yes,
briefly?
I'm happy to.
Attorney?
Well, before I do, Commissioner, what are you referring to? Are you looking at a particular ordinance? Or are you looking at?
2019-02, Section 13.
So is that an ordinance 2019-02? Do you have? You don't have that with you, do you?
It may be the one how we conduct our business.
Are you referring to the rules of procedure, perhaps?
I don't have it right here with me, but it's 2019-02.
Okay,
I don't know if it's a resolution or an ordinance. I know it has to do also with payment.
Okay, so what we'd have to do is we need to pull it, first of all. But I think you're referring to the rules of procedure, and generally speaking, some of the things were already, like this commission follows Robert's rules, and so with respect to the first issue where you were saying people shouldn't address the mayor, they should just go to any commissioner, I guess, that, that's not Robert's rules, right? So that wouldn't require. What cities generally do is they try to operate in a way that's going to give the highest degree of decorum, and generally speaking, people would address the mayor. I don't know of any city where things don't necessarily go. So I'm just
might not have explained myself because there used to be a resolution, and it was replaced. And the one that was replaced, I will bring them both next time, and I will show you. Maybe I'm not explaining myself. I'm not asking for anything that's
right. I think that's what she's talking about.
off the wall.
Right, but even there, I think before you all would have addressed, the mayor, because you follow Robert's rules, and that's a part of it.
That's not what I'm. I don't know how to explain it. I have to look at it and let you know. But I went through it and
Okay.
I'll bring it next time.
Okay.
Okay, and then.
Because there was one that was replaced.
Okay, and then the second issue, with respect to how do you, I think it was also another rules of procedure issue that you raised, and forgive me, I just had it in my head. It was about, the COVID-19, no, I don't think it was COVID-19. You had another issue that you were just talking about?
No, it's the same one. Everything is 21902.
Being able to be represented.
Oh, yes, represented, I'm sorry. Yes, being able to be represented by counsel. That only relates to issues where you haven't done anything wrong. Like, for instance, any citizen could just decide they're going to sue you for something that, you know, that you were doing in your public role as a public official. And that would be something that they're wrongly doing because you were actually in your role, you didn't do anything wrong. Let's say they come and they sue everybody individually plus the city of Pahokee for something that
speaks about judgments and all that stuff. So I just
for something that you were doing in your role, not something criminally that you would do outside of here that had nothing to do with the city, but for something in your role. What the commission was saying, I think, when they passed this was that, you know.
It could be illegal things that you're doing in your role.
That wouldn't be covered then. And I
Okay.
think it speaks to that, actually. There's some language
Well,
in there.
my intentions are to let you explain it because I didn't understand it, so that's what I want to do. I
Okay.
want to bring it and have you explain it so I could understand it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to make one addition to the future agenda items. I would like to see us do a workshop with the new, especially with the new commissioners. I know that, and I think the lobbyist spoke about it briefly, but we're supposed to get a big lump sum amount of money from the government that comes into the city, correct? I think it's like over $2 million that's supposed to come in. So I think that we need to have a workshop so that we sit down and discuss what are we going to do with this money? So it doesn't just go into general fund and then get, you know, out and about with a little bit here and a little bit there. I think we really need to sit down and workshop what we're going to do with that money. So I make a motion that we have a workshop over about that money.
Okay, what we'll
I think
do,
that's a good idea, but why don't we wait and see? Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, that there are going to be guidelines coming from the state on what you can and cannot do anyway involving COVID. So I think it's a
Right,
good
I'm just
idea
putting it
to
on the
have
agenda
the
for the
workshop,
next
but can
time.
I think that they have the workshop, but can we, let's wait until we see, you know, what the criterias are and then schedule the workshop around whatever the criterias would be.
Right, I'm just getting it on the agenda for the next time so that we can
Let's-
discuss it.
this will be the last, we'll vote on that. Lisa put it on the agenda for discussion of a future workshop dealing with the money that's expected to come into the city.
If I may, Commission, how about a workshop where, like Dorita was speaking of, how the process to apply, when we're applying for state legislature dollars, what we do when we're moving forward, how that process takes place. And I think that was what Mr. Dorita was speaking of, the process and how it is when we apply, we do the application once it's submitted so that you all are aware of how that takes place.
So then maybe we should ask Mr. Dorita to be there at the same time so that we get his,
And
okay.
if those dollars happen to come into place, then that way, the generalized discussion of what takes place
So do we have
with
to
any of
vote
those
on-
legislative dollars.
Okay.
You'll
So
understand.
do we have to vote on the emergency so that we could open to public? Do we have to vote on that?
Yeah, it goes on the agenda for next.
Yeah,
week,
but do
right?
we have to vote to put it on the agenda?
Yeah.
Because we haven't done that.
Okay.
Don't we have to vote for all
Okay,
that?
I wanna put a motion.
let's do the first and to add to the agenda the discussion of reopening city chambers to the public. Motion by Commissioner Perez. Second by Commissioner Vice Mayor Bowling. Call for question. All in favor?
It's gonna be with limited
Roll call.
people, right?
Yeah, I would have to right now. Yeah, but it'll still be
Follow
open.
the social distancing guidelines.
City Clerk, we're gonna roll call on that particular request to be added to the agenda.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes, motion passed unanimously. The second one is to add for discussion the
Ordinance 2019-02.
ordinance 2019 dealing with the way we conduct our city commission meeting. The city attorney will explain that whole process, and we'll determine whether or not some adjustment or changes or deletions or addition would be brought forth. Motion by Commissioner Perez, properly second by Commissioner Bowling. Call for question, hearing none. All in favor? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. The next motion to add to the agenda for future discussion or upcoming meeting by Commissioner Bowling was
The workshop,
For a workshop. Yeah.
legislative process.
and the funds that are expected to come into the city due to COVID-19. Properly second by Commissioner
Second.
Perez. Call for question. Hearing none. You ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes.
I have another one.
We need to.
One more.
Okay. What is?
I want to put in a motion to get a forensic audit up to this point, from the last time to this point, before we hire a new city manager.
Repeat that? I'm sorry.
To
I wanna-
request for discussion to have a forensic audit done prior to the appointment of a new city manager. Can I get a second?
I second it.
Moved by Commissioner Perez, properly second by Commissioner Gonzalez, to have for a future discussion on the agenda, forensic audit prior to the selection of a new city manager. Call for question. Hearing none. Are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Boland,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes, motion passed unanimously. I now adjourn this meeting at 9:17 p.m. This one over by 17 minutes.